claiming victory, but a costly one, claiming over 200 people were killed in the fighting there. A YPG official reported 140 of the Islamic State fighters were killed in the battle, along with 43 YPG fighters. 23 civilian bystanders were also slain in the course of the fighting over the key border crossing. Initial reports were that some of the Islamic State fighters who attacked Tel Abyad crossed in from the Turkish side of the border. U.S. airstrikes were launched around the area over the weekend, aiming to stall the advance of the Islamic State. The YPG seized Tel Abyad back in June and has held it in the face of several offensives by the Islamic State ever since. The town is the most convenient border crossing into Turkey from the Islamic State capital of Raqqa, and its loss has forced the Islamic State to use more roundabout paths. In 1999, Darryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Of the book, Dr. Brian Sovereign says, "Sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I think it's crazy, but it's always authentic." Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Darryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. UPI reports as the court fight between the U.S. Justice Department and Apple continues, Defense Secretary Ash Carter has said he's opposed to the government agency being given backdoor access to encrypted information. Speaking at the annual RSA conference in San Francisco on Tuesday, Carter told an audience that he does not support the argument that law enforcement agencies should be given protected data, such as that contained on a smartphone used by San Bernardino terror suspect Syed Farook. He said, "Just to cut to the chase, I'm not a believer in backdoors or a single technical approach. I don't think it's realistic." That drew enthusiastic applause. While Carter's remarks do relate to the San Bernardino case, it's not entirely an apples-to-apples comparison. Justice officials have repeatedly said they're not asking for a backdoor to Farook's phone. Instead, they are seeking a one-off software program that would disable a security feature on that particular device, which would then enable FBI technicians to break into it. Without that program, Farook's iPhone will reset itself and erase all of its data if investigators enter the incorrect password too many times. Apple also fears that compliance in the San Bernardino case might impact many other similar cases in which investigators cannot access protected information. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports the U.S. Justice Department has given immunity to a State Department employee who set up an email server for former Secretary of State and current Democratic presidential frontrunner candidate Hillary Clinton, according to the Washington Post. A senior U.S. law enforcement official said the FBI had secured the cooperation of Brian Pagliano, who worked on Clinton's 2008 presidential campaign before setting up the server in her New York home in 2009. Last month, a federal judge ruled that State Department officials and aides to Clinton should be questioned under oath about whether her use of a private email server was an effort to skirt open record laws. The ruling added to the uncertainty hovering over Clinton about the legal consequences of her decision to use a private email server in her home for her government work. The FBI is investigating the decision to use a private server and is likely in coming months to ask Clinton and her aides how it was set up and whether any of the participants knew they were sending classified information in emails. Clinton returned about 30,000 emails to the State Department in 2014, but said she deleted thousands of others that her staff deemed not to be work-related. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
It was a big night for music's hottest acts, especially for Lord Chillingsworth. In a shocking upset, the young artist took home the spookiest Halloween sound effect album Grammy for Creepy Night in Halloween Manor. Music blogger Ty Vaughn is here. Ty, what a shocker.
Lord Chillingsworth's track, Man Being Boiled Alive While Chains Rattle in a Dungeon, was crazy spooky. It was everywhere this year. Haunted houses, Halloween stores, nighttime hayrides. Anywhere you look, people were getting the willies from this album.
But a lot of people thought Grammy darling Dr. Spookenstein was a shoo-in to win for his album Laboratory of Madness.
And that was a great album. Critics praise Spookenstein's stripped-down approach, rattling real bones together and dripping real blood onto a screaming lady.
The class act Spookenstein offered a gracious congratulations to Chillingsworth, saying, "I'm a fan of every bloody who was nominated, especially Chillingsworth. I have a skeleton ton of respect for him as an artist. I just saw him on the red carpet and congratulated him."
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live. This is Free Talk Live. In studio tonight on this Thursday is Darryl,
Chris,
and Conan.
And Chris, you have some, I guess, breaking news of sorts, to where there was something happened earlier today all across the country where people were being arrested.
Well, at least in New Hampshire.
And, that's actually a daily occurrence, people getting arrested, but this is a little bit different.
Yeah. So we've got a local gentleman who was one of the first people on the ground at the Bundy Ranch, Jerry DeLamus. And he's head of the Rochester 912 group. I think he's the founder of that. Very big in the Tea Party here in New Hampshire.
So for the people that may have forgotten what the 912 group was, because I seem to recall something about it 6-7 years ago and haven't heard anything since.
Yeah.
Remind people what the 912 group was?
Sure. 912 groups kind of came out of, I think, the Glenn Beck following. But it was, basically, why can't we go back to how the country felt the day after 9/11, where there was this
the
huge
day
amount
after
of
9/11, where people were saying, let's just bomb everybody in the Middle East because we know somebody over there did something.
I think from their point of view, they were thinking about how the country finally bonded together and said, look, we've all got to get through this together. So different points
people.
of view.
Well, we've got to come together and kill people.
And we need more security. We need to, finally instate the Patriot Act, make it, turn it.
No freedoms.
No freedoms.
You don't have any freedoms because terrorists.
And everyone join the military.
And go kill people.
Yep.
Right. Okay. So I'm not going to put words in the 912ers or thoughts in the attempt to tell exactly what their mindset is. But what I will say is this, that on a lot of issues, these types of groups do definitely agree with libertarian points of view. They're very, very much opposed to, the NSA spying and warrantless searches and things like that. And there's going to be a whole host of issues that they disagree on. So immigration and things like that. Jerry's also was head of, he was a co-chair of Trump's Veterans for Trump. So that's a little bit of background. But
wait. Is it Veterans for Trump or Trump's Veterans for Trump?
I think it's Veterans for Trump.
Oh, okay, because that would have been.
But I have to double check. But that's it in a nutshell. But as I started off with, Jerry was one of the first guys on the ground at the Bundy Ranch a couple years ago.
And he is also the husband of, I can't use one of the words that I generally use to describe this woman. Shall we say that she seems to be a few fries short of a complete Happy Meal, and the toy might be broken, and she's also a state representative here in New Hampshire.
Okay.
Tell us.
And I know Sue, and
so her name is Sue.
Yeah, her name is.
He's the husband of this state rep that is, she is definitely outlandish, shall we say.
Certainly is, but also on some issues like Second Amendment issues and, again, warrantless spying and things like that. She's been on the right side of things in my mind. So, again, I'm not going to.
Well, a broken clock is right twice a day unless you're using 24-hour time, and then it's still right once a day.
There you go. Me personally, I like to look for anyone I can ally with on particular issues. So, we may disagree.
I'm not saying that she can't be an ally on a particular couple of issues. I'm just saying the woman is crazy. Because, no, you laugh, but she's been a state rep for several years.
Oh, I understand.
And was recently on CNN saying, I never cared about politics until Donald Trump ran for president this year.
Yeah, that one's a little bit of a stretch.
Is it that you never cared about politics and someone dragged you kicking and screaming to the State House?
Yeah. And she also...
Or are you a lying, conniving, crazy woman?
Darryl, I run for office every year. I hate politics.
But you pay attention to them.
Kind of. I read the newspaper every now and then. I listen to you talk every now and then. But no, generally, I don't want to have anything to do with it because I have better things to do with my life.
Right, and you've also not been an elected official for the last 6 years.
Okay, that's a good point.
All right. So maybe she was referring to national politics. I don't know, but this story is not about Sue DeLamus.
I'm just, sort of painting the picture of we've got this state rep.
He's going on the
that
warpath.
has said
He's taking
some
this
horribly
idea.
weird things. And her husband was involved in the Bundy Ranch thing, and the husband is who got arrested.
Yep. So, like I said, one of the first guys on the ground, he was one of those people that as soon as he heard about the Clive and Bundy situation with BLM showing up and saying, we're taking your cattle and things like that, he and I believe a couple people, one of them I know very well, hopped in the truck, loaded up, and headed to Nevada, and they were there on the ground. Jerry acted as, I think, towards after he had arrived there and had been there for a while, he was sort of base commander. So there was some organization there between all the different groups, and Jerry was sort of a head of security and base operations, I believe. But I'm just going to start off with this article to give everybody a little bit more background. Federal agents have arrested Jerry DeLamus, a local Tea Party leader who stood with Clive and Bundy's armed resistance at his ranch in Nevada in 2014 in connection with the standoff and alleged assault. DeLamus is facing 9 federal charges based on an indictment brought in Nevada, including conspiracy to commit an offense against the United States, threatening a federal law enforcement officer, assault on a federal officer, obstruction of justice, attempt to impede or injure a federal law enforcement officer, interference with interstate commerce by extortion, and several firearms charges, according to court records.
Okay, so go over those one more time slowly, and let's talk about each one of these charges.
Fair enough. The first charge: conspiracy to commit an offense against the United States.
So that is talking to people about possibly doing something that might be somewhere in these thousands upon thousands of pages of stuff. There are so many things in there. Technically, if I were to say, Conan, Chris, got a brilliant idea. I've got a brilliant idea. Let's go to the beach. I'm going to be out of town this weekend, but when I get back late Saturday, let's go to the beach, Portsmouth, and at night, let's go collect some seaweed. Collecting seaweed at night in New Hampshire is illegal. We just talked about it, which means that, yes, that's conspiracy.
Yes.
So we were conspiring to commit an offense. That's what he did. He sat around and he talked about doing something that may or may not have had a victim. Next charge.
Yeah, it's pretty insane, and I'm trying to understand exactly who the United States are. I know what the United States is, but who is this person or persons?
Federal government. He did something that FedGov doesn't like.
Well, I recognize that, but it was sort of for the people, by the people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, at least common sentiment.
That's the lie that they told people.
Yep, I'm telling you. All right. Threatening a federal law enforcement officer. So I suspect this comes from the fact that they were armed. If they were non-armed, unarmed protesters, none of this would have been a big deal because they wouldn't have been there for any amount of time.
You don't have to be armed to threaten somebody. If you are armed, then it's a more credible threat. We also don't know the specifics, so I'll withhold judgment on that second charge.
Assault on a federal officer.
Now, did any of this actually happen? I thought it was a peaceful event.
So this is where I start to have issues with, first of all, the New Hampshire union leaders reporting, and this is where this particular story, it's all over the news right now. But we'll get back to that in just a second.
Yeah, and if you know more about this, because one of the stories, or at least a headline that I saw, said that there were people arrested in several places, not just New Hampshire. So if you know any more about this, give us a call, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $7.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
If you want to move to the Free State and you're looking for some real estate.
Oof, I think we've all had enough of that jingle, don't you? If you're going to invest in property in New Hampshire, it just makes sense to support a liberty-friendly realtor. Call Mark Warden of Team Porcupine Real Estate for investment property or rentals in the Free State, or visit his website. Come on, you know it.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, the Thursday night edition. In studio, it's Darryl, Chris, and Conan. And Chris, you've been telling us about some of the arrest that have happened all across the country. At least we know that there was an arrest in New Hampshire, and I saw a report of an arrest in like Arizona or wherever the Bundy people happen to be living. One of the Bundys apparently arrested as well. So we're talking specifically about the guy here in New Hampshire, but if you have more details on this or bring up anything you want, 855-450-FREE. That's the toll-free call-in line. And, of course, we also have Skype. Skype username is lrn.fm. So, Chris, let's get back into the story.
Yeah, and I've seen reports, and I haven't found stories to back them up, that Davy Bundy, and I guess another Bundy brother or family member, and Mel Bundy may have been brought up too. I know that the union leaders article had a picture showing the front page of the indictment, which I can't seem to locate. Maybe somebody else has that out there and they can give us a clue where to find it. But it looks like 5, 6, 7, 8 names you can read, and many of these people were from Oregon when they rounded up everybody out there. It includes Cliven Bundy, it includes Jerry DeLamus, and it includes at least 4 names that are blacked out that you cannot read. So there's obviously more arrests coming. We were talking a little bit about the charges, kind of one by one.
Yeah. So the first charge was conspiracy to do something that FedGov doesn't like.
Yep, conspiracy to commit an offense against the United States.
The second charge was threatening
a federal law enforcement officer. The third charge was assault on a federal officer, and this is why I want to see this indictment. I did not believe that there was any direct contact between the protesters and the BLM and other law enforcement agencies that were out at Bundy Ranch.
Maybe they're referring to their feelings that were hurt.
That could be it, or maybe one of the protesters had attacked one of the BLM enforcers' taser with his chest. That happened before any of this really started. It all started with a video that came out when protesters started to show up, and they were just basically, arguing with the BLM, saying, why are you here? Why don't you just go home? The BLM somewhat holding their dogs back, but then starting to tase the protesters. And that was one of those, I think, pivotal moments in this whole story where it really flipped from protesters on the ground, neighbors and people that agreed with the Bundys, to, okay, we need to load up the trucks and head out to Nevada.
And as we know, at least here in New Hampshire, and this was probably a decade ago when this happened, there was some kind of incident to where a police officer and an activist were walking opposite directions down a sidewalk, and the police officer stepped sort of into the activist and brushed his shoulder and then arrested him and charged him with assault.
Right.
For the police officer walking into the activist.
Wasn't there a similar moment with the Robin Hooders and one of the parking enforcers where someone got too close and touched the person?
But they were not charged with assault. They weren't arrested for assault.
Yeah, but it was mentioned. It was mentioned in court.
It's mentioned during the civil suit of this is why we need the thing, but they never. Let me sort of pause here for a moment to say, if you're going to bring something up in a civil suit and you want the judge to believe it, press charges for whatever the offense was that you're bringing up in the civil suit that's not related to the damn civil suit.
Right.
If you're saying he assaulted me, but there's no police report and there's no charge in court anywhere, then I'm not very likely to believe you.
Agreed. So, in addition to assault on a federal officer, the next one will be obstruction of justice, which is one of my personal favorites.
That is basically like, that could be anything from you didn't talk to you stood here when we told you to stand there.
Or you talk too much.
Or you sat on the ground and you refused to get up and move with them, and they said that they had to drag you.
Yep.
That would be obstruction.
The next one, attempting to impede or injure a federal law enforcement officer.
Attempting to impede. So you're standing in the road and they're trying to drive their Bearcat over your tent.
I think this one would
impeding.
be you're standing in the road and they're trying to drive your cattle off of your ranch. I think that would be a better way of putting it.
Yeah, but, basically, You're preventing them from doing something horrible to somebody somewhere, so therefore impeding.
Yep. The next one, interference with interstate commerce by extortion. Now, that one I found kind of interesting.
Okay, so I can understand the interference with interstate commerce because they're preventing cattle from being gone somewhere, and then after they die, it could cross a state line somewhere or not. And we know that, what was it, like
Wicker,
80 years ago?
Yeah, Wicker versus Filburn.
The Supreme Court ruled that by you growing wheat on your own property, you're interfering with interstate commerce because you're not buying bread that had grain that crossed a line somewhere. So I can kind of understand that one. Still no victim.
But I mean, how are they extortion? How are they? What are they getting in return?
We want our freedom. We want you to not steal money from us, and therefore you're preventing FedGov from getting money, so you're extorting them.
Yeah, that one just blows me away, and this is, again, why I want to see the entire indictment. And several firearm charges according to court records, and that's kind of where they leave it.
There was plenty of them out there, but that's probably why they were able to, 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago?
2 years ago. Almost 2. It was like
April.
May.
It's why they were able to get away with what they did because of the firearms. And now, 2 years later, they're going to pick them off one by one. Now that they're back in their homes by themselves, they don't have they might not be carrying that particular day, and that's where they're going to pick them up.
Well, and this is all, to me, my personal opinion is this is all stemming from what happened in Oregon. Okay, the feds, because they were able to actually stop this, literally by shooting a guy and arresting everybody in the middle of the high desert of eastern Oregon.
You think they're stepping up? They feel a little more confident in their abilities to take these people out?
Yep, and they are going to start picking people off one by one. What my question is, where does it stop and how far does this net go? So I look at guys like Pete Santilli, who, is named in this same indictment. He is a independent journalist. As far as I know, he was not a ringleader at Bundy Ranch. The only thing I ever saw the guy do was report what was going on. Yet he's facing all these same charges.
And is there more to the story that you have?
Sure. At a court appearance Thursday afternoon in Concord, an overflow crowd of DeLemus supporters forced officials to move the proceedings to a larger room on the third floor of the courthouse. Supporters broke out into loud applause as DeLemus was led into the courtroom, and he turned and blew them kisses.
Wow.
The 64-page indictment cites DeLemus as one of 8 defendants who planned, organized, led, and or participated as gunmen in the assault, all in order to threaten, intimidate, and extort the officers into abandoning approximately 400 head of cattle that were in their lawsuit and lawful care and custody.
We'll finish talking about this as well as the other arrest that happened today. And, of course, your calls, 855-450-FREE.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
We use mobile devices right against our bodies every day, but growing scientific evidence has emerged showing serious health risks associated with exposure to EMF radiation emitted from these devices. The solution is Defender Shield, the most effective mobile radiation shielding ever developed. Defender Shield blocks virtually 100% of EMF radiation from cell phones, tablets, and laptops, and starts at just $64.99. Buy now at DefenderShield.com. For 10% off, use promo code GCN. DefenderShield.com, the worldwide leader in mobile radiation shielding.
Arcade City is a ride-sharing app built by drivers for drivers. It's more decentralized than Uber and Lyft. With Arcade City, you can keep all of what you earn. Sign up now to drive for Arcade City at arcade.freetalklive.com. Arcade City was created by New Hampshire liberty activist Christopher David. When he publicized the idea in January 2016, he hoped to recruit 100 drivers by the end of the month. Instead, he blew past his goal with over 1,300 drivers signing up in just 2 weeks. Arcade City is connecting drivers directly with riders and is disrupting the already disrupted transportation industry. If you want to get involved, you can join as a rider or a driver. To ride with Arcade City, visit arcaderide.freetalklive.com. To drive with Arcade City, visit arcade.freetalklive.com. That's arcade.freetalklive.com to drive, or arcaderide.freetalklive.com to ride with Arcade City.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Sources at the video streaming service Netflix reported today that they had sent local man Shane Fowler a personal message earlier just checking to see if everything was okay after the 31-year-old watched an entire season of the FX program Sons of Anarchy in a single viewing session.
Well, we happened to notice that Shane had been sitting in front of his laptop and had burned through all 13 episodes of the first season of Sons of Anarchy. So we thought maybe we could send him a note and just sort of make sure he was doing all right, or if he needed someone to talk to or something.
Netflix says the message, which Fowler received minutes after he finished viewing the season 1 finale of the motorcycle gang drama, was just a way for the company to see if there was anything they could do for their longtime subscriber.
I mean, we do this stuff all the time. Just last year, Mike Ralston from Bartlesville, Oklahoma, watched all 4 seasons of The Tudors after his wife left him. We were there for him. We just like to check in on our customers from time to time.
This is the Onion News Network.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That is the toll-free call-in line. That's 855-450-3733. And, of course, we have Skype. Username on the Skypes is LRN.FM. We're talking about the arrest that happened earlier today of some people affiliated with the Bundy Ranch situation from nearly 2 years ago. It was like April and May of 2014, and people are just now getting arrested for it. And there was speculation that I saw online earlier today because the guy from New Hampshire, Jerry DeLamas, who was arrested, was, as you mentioned, Chris, involved with some Donald Trump organization. And so the headline that I saw was Feds arresting Trump supporters.
Right.
And it's like, okay, yes, this guy happened to be a Donald Trump supporter, but that's not why he was arrested. Like his offense was not supporting Donald Trump. Although, that might be something that should be a punishable offense because Donald Trump is a horrible, horrible individual. And, for once I agree with Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney had a press conference today to state that Donald Trump was a horrible individual. And we've got Jim in New York calling in about Donald Trump. Jim, you're on Free Talk Live.
Free shipping special for ProPureUSA.com.
Jim, you need to turn the radio off and listen to the telephone because otherwise you're going to be hearing us about 10 seconds later. Are you with us?
Yes, I am.
All right, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
I wanted to bring up the issue since the corporate media has made a big thing about Donald Trump and David Duke. David Duke can support whoever he wants.
I don't think anybody is saying that David Duke could not support whoever he wants.
Well, the media is kind of saying that.
Well, this is a nationally syndicated radio show. That means we are also media, and we are not saying that.
I know. Well, that's why I listen to you guys.
So what actually did they say? What did David Duke say? How did he come out in support of Trump?
Well, he didn't come out and support him, but he's matching him up against the other guys. Look, I'm not crazy about Trump either, but look at what he's running against. Do we want another 20 years of the same crap? If you want that, vote for the other guys. I mean, I'm not crazy about Trump, and maybe we are kind of tossing the dice with him, but it's got to be better than what we've been through.
And you think Trump is going to be better than George W. Bush and Barack Obama?
Oh, yeah.
How so?
I don't think he's going to lead us into wars like we've been led into.
He said that he wants
does.
to bomb the S out of ISIS. He wants to, start all kinds of new problems. He wants to build a wall on the border and make Mexico pay for it. They're not going to voluntarily hand over money. He's going to have to send somebody in there to confiscate money from the Mexican government.
Okay, Jim, I'm going to hop right in the middle between you and Darryl and say that I don't think Donald Trump's going to be any better or worse. I think it doesn't really matter, and we're going to get pretty much business as usual regardless of who fills the seat. I just don't really care.
Then it's time for a new third party.
In that we are in agreement.
Right? I think the country's ready for a new third party.
So why not support one of the national parties that already exist?
Libertarian Party.
Libertarian Party, Constitution Party, Green Party.
I was a supporter of Ron Paul, big supporter. And what they did to him in 2012 totally turned me off to the Republican Party. Totally turned me off till this day. So, and I think a lot of Americans feel that way. And maybe it is time for a third party. Maybe a Libertarian Republican Party or some other name. I don't think Gary Johnson can quite grab the attention as, say, like a Ron Paul or Rand Paul. But I think the country's ripe for it. I really do.
I think the fact that so many of the Democrats are leaning towards the socialist Bernie and so many of the Republicans are leaning towards the Democrat who is Trump really shows you that, both parties are losing. They're losing touch with their...
They really are.
They are losing touch, but there are so many people that, they might say, I don't really like this guy, but, well, he's definitely going to be better than this person from the party that I absolutely despise, so therefore I'm going to vote for this other person.
Right.
And there's a guy that I used to work with. He's a talk show host down in Birmingham, Alabama, my hometown. And to protect him from national scrutiny, I will not give his name, but I will read something that he posted on his Facebook a couple days ago when Alabama had their primary on Super Tuesday. He writes, I proudly cast my vote for Senator Marco Rubio this morning. Naturally, I hope Rubio wins and rolls on to the nomination, or wins Alabama and rolls on to the nomination at the convention in Cleveland. But let me make it clear that if Rubio falls short, the GOP nominee, whoever it is, will have my 100% unconditional support.
Yeah, that's the worst part of it right there.
Yeah, and then he goes on.
It's the same with the Democrats. It's like, all right, well, if Bernie doesn't get it, well, we all have got to vote for Hillary.
Yeah.
Even though you can't stand her and we all know she's a war criminal, you still got to vote for us. We don't want them Republicans to get any ground.
Yeah, he goes on to say the one thing that should unite us all is the concept that Hillary Clinton should not be the next occupant of the Oval Office. The quadrennial GOP circular firing squad cost us victory in 2012 and possibly 2008. So vote your conscience today, and please bear in mind that on their worst day, he writes, any of the Republican field is 1,000 times better than Secretary Clinton, Senator Sanders, or any of their ilk. I ask all of you who share our values to please make the same commitment. Staying home or voting for some hopeless third-party candidate will virtually assure a Democrat victory. I hope we don't have to learn this lesson again. And this is the reason that we don't have a viable, strong third party or fourth party in the United States, is because so many people buy into this. On the Republican side, and as Conan pointed out, on the Democrat side as well, to where, well, our guy might not be good, but he's better than that other guy that's horrible. And I know I agree with, this third candidate, but, well, that's just a wasted vote. Even though polls from Reuters and Pew and some of these other places, Gallup, they do it consistently where they ask people in, the spring of the election year, how likely are you to consider voting for a third party or independent candidate? And it's almost always 60+% that say that they'll consider it, and then the election rolls around and your third party candidates get 3%. Third party just doesn't have a chance, so nobody wants to vote for a guy who's not going to win. So that's a mindset that just needs to be changed. Right. Even though 60% consistently say that they'll think about it. Yeah. I'll think about it, but then the election rolls around and they fall back into he's not going to win, so I'm not going to put my money on that horse. Right. Voting in elections is not betting on horses at the racetrack. Jim?
No, I think the American people are very confused at this point in time right now. So confused. I kind of say to myself, you know what? Whoever the corporate mainstream media supports, that's what I'm going to vote against. Or whoever they, dismiss or put down, that's what I'm going to vote for.
I can kind of stand with that one right there. But I don't believe that Trump and Sanders are as aloof as people make them out to be. I think they really are in cahoots with some of these. I know Sanders is in cahoots with big unions, and I know Trump is in cahoots with big business. So I mean, he might not be getting the main media, but he has supporters that I don't agree with. Oh yeah, he's definitely got supporters that we don't agree with, and he's supported people that we don't agree with. Jim, thanks for the call, and your call's welcome. 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
Imagine your life 5 years from now. Are you on the path you want to be on? It's time to take control of your future by getting a world-class education from one of the nation's top universities. Arizona State University is now offering over 100 top-tier degree programs 100% online. It's the exact same degree our on-campus students receive, but you can learn from anywhere in the country on your own schedule. For information, call 1-800-939-9426. Learn from ASU's world-renowned faculty and use ASU's global recognition to improve your visibility, professional network, and gain real-world experience you can start using today. The Wall Street Journal ranked ASU 5th in the nation for producing the best qualified graduates. Now discover how ASU Online can stand out on your resume and help separate you from the competition. We're ready to help you learn to thrive in your life, in your career, and beyond. To learn more about ASU online degrees, call 1-800-939-9426. That's 1-800-939-9426.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees!
What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Your calls welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's the toll-free call-in line. 855-450-FREE. And also, we have Skype. Username is LRN.FM. And just a reminder, we do have a one call per night rule. So if you have called in, then you do not get to call in again. We started off the show talking about the arrest of someone here in New Hampshire, Jerry DeLamus. He's the husband of a state representative who has gotten some media for saying some rather outlandish things, shall we say. And Jerry DeLamus was not the only person arrested today in connection with the thing that he was arrested for. He was arrested in connection to some charges from 2 years ago when the Bundy Ranch situation was going on in, where was it, Nevada?
Nevada.
And, well, there's a story from the Salt Lake Trib that says federal agents made arrests in 6 states, including Utah, on Thursday, rounding up supporters of Nevada rancher Cliven Bundy for their participation in the 2014 armed standoff with federal agents. In all, 12 men were arrested, including 2 of Bundy's sons, Davey of Delta, Utah, and his brother Melvin of Round Mountain, Nevada. The men are 2 of the 14 children of Cliven Bundy, the 69-year-old Bunkerville cattleman who last month was arrested and indicted on 16 federal charges related to a standoff near his ranch as part of a long-ranging dispute with the Bureau of Land Management over unpaid grazing fees. More than 200 people participated in the standoff 2 years ago, which resulted in the release of some 400 head of Bundy's cattle, in which had been seized by federal agents. In a news release, the U.S. Department of Justice said the arrest followed the Wednesday return of a new grand jury indictment in Nevada's U.S. District Court. The indictment charges 14 new individuals with 1 count each of conspiracy to commit an offense against the United States, conspiracy to impede or injure it says conspiracy to impede or injury a federal officer. I guess they mean injure. The other charge, weapon use and possession, assault on a federal officer, threatening a federal law enforcement officer, obstruction of justice, extortion to interfere with commerce, and interstate travel in aid of extortion. And again, all 14 individuals charged with 1 count of each of those. The charges carry penalties ranging from 5 years to 20 years in federal prison.
Right.
Wow. And it is throwing a whole bunch of stuff up at the wall to see what sticks.
And here's my I got a couple problems with this. First of all is, number one, the net is getting wider and wider. It starts off with Clive and Bundy, but now they're saying, okay, well, for example, they describe Jerry DeLamus as a mid-level leader and organizer of the conspiracy. So when does it get down to the lower level leaders or people that were on patrol?
About 2 more years.
Yeah. Or when does it become people that supported them? That's my first thing. And the second thing is, forget everything else. I mean, this is just about guns. That's it. So if the Bundy Ranch situation went down and it was actually 200 or so protesters who showed up and linked arms together and walked across the desert and pushed those cattle out or refused to let the BLM pass because their arms were linked, of course, that would have never succeeded. But the charges would have never been anything remotely like this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The article here continues. It says the indictment also alleges 5 counts of criminal forfeiture, which could require defendants to surrender more than $3 million in properties derived from the proceeds of the alleged crimes. The Department of Justice was actually one of their attorneys here. Daniel Bogdan said in a statement, the investigation began the day after the assault against federal law enforcement officers and continues to this day.
What assault?
I don't know.
I know.
It must be the taser assault where the guy walked up on the taser and got himself tased.
Hit the law enforcement officer's taser. Okay.
We will continue to work to identify the assaults and their role in the assault and the aftermath in order to ensure that justice is served.
Okay, so if we say assault enough times, then it actually happened. It's just sort of like if we say that these people are militia or militants or anything else, then that makes it what it is. This reminds me of some novel I've read. It just slips my mind. I think I read it back in 1984.
Oh, yes. I have not actually read that per se. I did listen to the book on tape when I was driving from Missouri to South Carolina, and I was somewhere in, I think, the middle of Tennessee when I wound up finishing the book, and I was so ticked off with how it ended, I almost drove my car off the road.
If you listen to the audiobook, get the one done by Frank Muller, who is no longer with us, best audiobook narrator in the land, or was anyways.
Well, it was very well narrated. It was just the ending of the book where Winston Smith says, I love Big Brother. I wanted to, smash my head against rocks with baby puppies.
You know what? I just watched a film, Mads Mikkelsen, who's I think he's Norwegian. But anyways, he played in a Western, called The Salvation, and it's he's just up and coming. He's been in the States for a couple of years, and the whole town and the big bad gang turn against him. So you can expect the bullies. You know what's coming from them. They're going to kill you. They're going to take your land. But when the cowardly citizens give him up to save their own, it was the same thing. It was the same kind of feeling. It's like, I understand this. Their people are the sheep and the wolves. They both make me sick inside, and I just want people to get away from that and be individuals. Stop running with the flock, stop running with the pack, and be individuals and open your eyes to the real concept, and that is, it's all about slavery, and you should want to be free, and if you give your own people up. Which is what is kind of happening here, where the wolf pack is coming in, and they're testing the waters. They're seeing what they can get away with. They've taken this long, and they're going to start clearing up the people who are actually standing up for our rights.
Yep.
And they're being taken out of action. They're being taken out of commission, and who is going? One of us. Now it's left to the people who are just talking about it. Because would you have gone to Nevada?
In a heartbeat. It was not feasible, but I had conversations with a number of my friends. Can we make this happen?
Yeah.
But we had just moved up here, not a lot of money coming in yet. It just wasn't in the cards.
Yeah, I mean, it was most definitely not feasible for me economically, but I don't know that I would. Maybe if it was in Manchester, the next city over, I might, do something like this. But it's not in the cards for me to do something like this. But what would it take? Because
right.
I mean, now we have someone from New Hampshire who is being arrested, who's being, and these charges are being thrown, these ridiculous charges.
Right.
And he could, up to 20 years for like one charge, 5 to 20 for just one of those charges.
Each charge carries a possible sentence of between 5 to 20 years in federal prison, and depending on how happy the judge is on any given day, that could either be concurrent or consecutive.
Right, but just average it out to say 10 years and what, 8, 9 charges? How many were there?
I did not count, but I think it was somewhere close to a dozen.
Sure, but you get past 6 and an average of 10 years, you've exceeded the lifetime of pretty much everybody in here.
Right,
I think,
and that's assuming that they do consecutive, which, if they're having a bad day.
I don't think it'll be about that. I think it'll be about sending the message, just like they did with Ross. It's going to be
Ross Ulbricht got 2 life sentences plus 40 years.
For running a website.
For running a website where people sold things that may or may not be illegal in any given location. And I'm glad you mentioned Ross, because it will allow me to mention the fundraiser that is happening that Lynn Ulbricht announced a couple of weeks ago on this program at the New Hampshire Liberty Forum. She was on the Friday night of that and mentioned that if you go to art.freeross.org, that's art.freeross.org, Ross drew a picture. It's titled The Trial I Saw, where it's the trial, his kangaroo court hearing, if you will, as he observed it. So it's the trial from his eyes. You buy a square for $1. It reveals a piece of the picture. Once it's all revealed, the original will go up for sale. art.freeross.org. And this is Free Talk Live, 855-450 free.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phone, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
As a pioneer of the e-commerce movement, Overstock.com is proud to be the first major retailer to accept Bitcoin. Overstock was the first because Patrick Byrne, Overstock's CEO and founder, firmly believes in personal freedom and cryptocurrency. Over the past 16 years, Overstock has furnished over 18 million homes with a diverse line of products to suit everyone's unique styles and preferences. Support Overstock and freedom of choice while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more. I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com. Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, March 3rd, 2016. Silver is trading at $14.96 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,242 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $426. Antiwar.com reports the Islamic State attacked the town of Tel Abyad on the Syrian-Turkey border over the weekend, and fighting raged for several days. The Kurdish YPG is claiming victory, but a costly one, claiming over 200 people were killed in the fighting there. A YPG official reported 140 of the Islamic State fighters were killed in the battle, along with 43 YPG fighters. 23 civilian bystanders were also slain in the course of the fighting over the key border crossing. Initial reports were that some of the Islamic State fighters who attacked Tel Abyad crossed in from the Turkish side of the border. U.S. airstrikes were launched around the area over the weekend, aiming to stall the advance of the Islamic State. The YPG seized Tel Abyad back in June and has held it in the face of several offensives by the Islamic State ever since. The town is the most convenient border crossing into Turkey from the Islamic State capital of Raqqa, and its loss has forced the Islamic State to use more roundabout paths. In 1999, Darryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Of the book, Dr. Brian Sovereign says, sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I think it's crazy, but it's always authentic. Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Darryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. UPI reports as the court fight between the U.S. Justice Department and Apple continues, Defense Secretary Ash Carter has said he's opposed to the government agency being given backdoor access to encrypted information. Speaking at the annual RSA conference in San Francisco on Tuesday, Carter told an audience that he does not support the argument that law enforcement agencies should be given protected data, such as that contained on a smartphone used by San Bernardino terror suspect Syed Farouk. He said, just to cut to the chase, I'm not a believer in backdoors or a single technical approach. I don't think it's realistic. That drew enthusiastic applause. While Carter's remarks do relate to the San Bernardino case, it's not entirely an apples-to-apples comparison. Justice officials have repeatedly said they're not asking for a backdoor to Farouk's phone. Instead, they are seeking a one-off software program that would disable a security feature on that particular device, which would then enable FBI technicians to break into it. Without that program, Farouk's iPhone will reset itself and erase all of its data if investigators enter the incorrect password too many times. Apple also fears that compliance in the San Bernardino case might impact many other similar cases in which investigators cannot access protected information. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports the U.S. Justice Department has given immunity to a State Department employee who set up an email server for former Secretary of State and current Democratic presidential frontrunner candidate Hillary Clinton, according to the Washington Post. A senior U.S. law enforcement official said the FBI had secured the cooperation of Brian Pagliano, who worked on Clinton's 2008 presidential campaign before setting up the server in her New York home in 2009. Last month, a federal judge ruled that State Department officials and aides to Clinton should be questioned under oath about whether her use of a private email server was an effort to skirt open record laws. The ruling added to the uncertainty hovering over Clinton about the legal consequences of her decision to use a private email server in her home for her government work. The FBI is investigating the decision to use a private server and is likely in coming months to ask Clinton and her aides how it was set up and whether any of the participants knew they were sending classified information and emails. Clinton returned about 30,000 emails to the State Department in 2014, but said she deleted thousands of others that her staff deemed not to be work-related. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Following several months of negotiations, representatives at the Minnesota State Museum confirmed today that they have extended their final offer to the anonymous owner of the couch from the hit 1970s sitcom The Mary Tyler Moore Show.
We hope an agreement can be reached soon because after months of back and forth, we just need a straight answer here.
Healy noted that the brown velvet artifact would be a welcome addition to its media wing, which boasts a robust collection, including several iconic Minnesota pieces.
We have the fence from Grumpy Old Men. We acquired the puck from the Mighty Ducks several months ago.
Healy and his team made their first bid in December of 2012 and have cycled through 5 rounds of negotiations, reportedly tripling their initial offer in an urgent attempt to secure the sale.
It's not every day that an artifact of this significance comes on the market and went... Oh my God, it's him. It's him, okay? Hello, sir. What would you say if I went up another 2?
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. Hour number 2, and your calls welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And, of course, we also have Skype. Skype username is lrn.fm. In studio tonight is Darryl,
Chris,
and Conan.
And Conan, you have something that is on your chest that you would like to get off your chest.
Is this about tipping, or is this about your debate? Or is this something else?
Take your pick.
The latter, but we could certainly talk about tipping if you wanted.
Let's hold on to that, because that's a big one in my book. But I watched this debate that you were a part of. Was it how many days ago? Last week?
So it was last Saturday, and it was in Biloxi, Mississippi. The Libertarian Parties of Alabama and Mississippi hosted a joint convention, and as part of said convention, they had a debate, and it was inside the Beau Rivage Hotel and Casino, and the debate was open to anybody that wanted to show up. So it was not just to ticketed individuals.
Mm-hmm.
So, anybody in the casino, if they wandered over into the convention areas and saw a door, then, they could walk in and be like, oh, okay, here's a debate.
Yeah.
Now,
it was done in 2 parts. Let me just sort of recap.
All right. This is good, because I think a lot of people saw the first part, which I don't think turned out well at all.
Was this the mile-away camera?
And the sound was horrible.
It was
that was the part
apparently
that I
it was
caught.
a distant camera. The stage was over illuminated so that the 11 people on stage looked like just luminous beings. And from what I heard, the sound was not that great because they were using like the cam audio instead of running stuff, but there was a professional recording, and that is supposed to be being released sometime shortly.
Okay, so
good.
So the part that I saw, the quality was not very good at all.
Right, that also was a live stream.
The second part. But I don't know how many parts there are, because I saw
there
from
were 2 parts. There was the first part of the debate had 11 candidates on stage.
Okay, I did not see that one.
And then there was about an hour of debate, and they took a break, and they had the participants vote in a straw poll where they gave each attendee 5 tokens, and there were jars for each of the 11 candidates, and they said you can either put all of these in one, you can separate them out. So, here's your 5 and vote as you wish. And the top 5 candidates went on to round 2.
Okay, that's the one that I saw, and I have to say there was 5 candidates that we had. You had Darryl here, of course. You had Beck Boy Pedersen, and of course you had some guy Feldman, who I never heard of.
Mark Allen Feldman. He's a doctor of some sort, anesthesiologist, I think, from Ohio. He's also on the National Committee of the Libertarian Party.
And, of course, the chosen boys, McAfee and Johnson. And I have to say, I was very impressed with your appearance, with your showmanship. your answers, and I applauded you.
And then after,
and then of course there have been articles that have been submitted. One of them from this guy named Stapleton. Well, it's on his website. It was written by one of his boys.
After the debate, and we'll get into sort of the backlash that happened about a day or so after the debate. But immediately after the debate, there was a straw poll where everybody in attendance had one token, and they were asked the question: if the election were today, for whom would you vote? And they had the one token. They could place it in one jar. Gary Johnson wound up winning. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I believe it was 45 votes that he received. John McAfee came in second with, I believe, 30 votes. Austin Peterson came in third with 20 votes. I came in fourth with 17. And Mark Allen Feldman came in fifth with, I think, 5 votes.
Now, there's a Libertarian Party. Is it libertarianparty.org?
LP.org.
They also have a poll up at the moment.
And that poll has been up for several weeks.
And it's regarding the debate and who won the debate. And I encourage
I don't think they have one. No, the site you're thinking of, it's a Libertarian Future, and that has absolutely nothing to do with the Libertarian Party.
Okay, I thought it was Libertarian Party. But I think that link is maybe on Free Talk Live, and I encourage people to watch the debate and also go to that poll and give this man props, because there's a bigger, and it would probably be a much better debate done by Stossel. I don't know, and the
Stossel debate, he's only having 3 candidates,
right?
And he doesn't cite the poll, but he mentioned in his post about the debate, I'm taking the candidates that finished top 3 in a poll done by the Libertarian Party.
Yeah.
But he doesn't cite to the poll, and he might be citing, here's a poll that's been open for 3 weeks that if you clear your cookies and open in a private browser, you can vote multiple times.
But all you want.
Now, here's the most ironic part about all of this. Stossel's having a Libertarian debate, and the only Libertarian who was at that debate is not being invited to the debate, which is crap. You've got a bunch of minarchists. You got a bunch of dudes who lean. They're very liberty friendly. And I don't know about this Peterson guy at all. I don't trust him at all. But I know McAfee and Johnson are liberty friendly, and sometimes they carry on a good discussion on the debate floor. But the one Libertarian is not invited, and I find that a little upsetting.
Well, to play devil's advocate there, I think anybody who feels that they want to join the Libertarian Party, they're all going to have various outlooks on the world. But what I think is going to be missing from the Stossel debate is what I believe is probably the purest form of libertarian thought, which is anarchism or anarcho-capitalism, and that was
I prefer to call it voluntarism.
Or voluntarism, sure, whatever you want to call it. But I think that's where it would have been very educational for a lot of people to hear those arguments, and now they are not going to.
Yeah,
or at least they won't be hearing them on the Stossel show necessarily.
Sure, but that show's got tremendous reach.
As does this show.
Agreed.
But it would have been very nice to have gotten on the Stossel program, and it would have been even nicer if this stupid video that it came out wasn't so crappy. And I would like to see the professional version.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well, because that's the version that I want to wind up putting on community access television.
I know some individuals who discuss the news, who saw the original version and couldn't stomach it. They couldn't watch it. And then I'm watching it, and I'm like, yeah, you watched the wrong version. So, And so I'll be sending out emails and twits to these individuals, because I want them to see, a fairly good debate.
Yeah, the debate was good, and I tried to listen to it, but I couldn't help but look at, I was watching the live stream when everybody was on stage. It reminded me of Star Wars Episode 1, where they did, they had the big race with whatever they were racing on, and George Lucas came out and said, well, actually, everybody in the stands, they were like the painted heads of Q-tips. That's how we did the special effects. That's what it looked like. It was just like a bunch of, there was a head there, there was a body, and that was it.
Did you save a bunch of the Snowden masks and take them with you and fill all the front rows with just nothing but...
No.
So anyways, so there was backlash. There was one website in particular, the Stapleton something. Let's see, what is it actually?
JasonStapleton.com, I believe, is the website you're referring to.
And, well, he kind of threw you under the bus. He gave everyone props except Darryl. He says, Perry.
And for point of reference, this is not Jason Stapleton writing the article on his website.
This is Remso Martinez,
a guy that used to work for the Austin Peterson campaign.
He says Perry is not a libertarian. You know what? Hold on. We hold this back for the when we come back.
If you get attacked, you're doing something right.
Yeah, and I've had people call me communist and anarchist and not libertarian, all for the same reasons, and we'll delve into that. And, of course, your call is 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
Today, how to incorporate your business in just 10 minutes so you won't lose everything if you get sued. Step 1, stop putting it off. If you're not incorporated and someone sues your business tomorrow, it's not just your business at risk. You can lose everything: your home, your car, even your life savings. Step 2, call the following number for a free 10-minute incorporation guide from Incorporate.com. 1-800-975-5269. They don't provide legal or financial advice. They just make incorporating quick and easy. So you can incorporate or form an LLC in just 10 minutes. That number again is 1-800-975-5269. Step 3, congratulate yourself. By taking just 10 minutes to incorporate your business or form an LLC, you protected your home, your car, and your life savings. And that is how you incorporate your business in just 10 minutes. But hurry while they're still giving away these 10-minute incorporation guides for free. Call 1-800-975-5269. That's 1-800-975-5269.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $7.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Excuse me, is this where I get a license to start a new business?
I wouldn't be hasty. You have to get a license to go out of business, too, you know.
Oh, well, look, I've invented this little anti-gravity machine, see?
Oh, is that why you're walking 2 inches above the floor?
Oh, yes, it's very comfortable. It saves on shoe leather.
Yeah, well, you have to fill out these forms and report to the Human Services Department of Manpower Orientation and register with the Fair Employment Practice Commission, the Wage and Hour Division of the Employment Standards Administration, the State Sales and Income Tax Division, the Internal Revenue Service, and the Social Security Administration of the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, and, of course, OSHA.
OSHA? I thought that was a little town in Wisconsin.
You'll find out. Say, floating around like that could be dangerous. Have you checked with the Consumer Product Safety Commission?
Well, not yet.
Come to think of it, you actually are flying, aren't you? Look, you need to go over to the Federal Aviation Administration and the Transportation...
It's very hard to get anything done these days if you're in business, but free enterprise built this country. Think what could happen if we don't keep it free. A public service of this station and the Center for the Defense of Free Enterprise, Bellevue, Washington.
We just can't have people floating about unregulated, you know.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Thursday, gold is up $6 at $1,247 per ounce. Silver is 10 cents higher at $15.10 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $421 US. We love Bitcoin and offer same-day shipping and no minimum purchase requirement when you use the digital currency. Check out our website at rrbi.co where you can use Bitcoin to buy silver and gold, or give us a call at 800-874-9760.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We'll get back into talking about this debate. Conan, there's one thing that you said that I have to agree with, that I did look good on stage, and that's because I've lost a lot of weight over the last year.
Have.
And like I see pictures of myself today, and I am super impressed with myself.
We need to get you an upgraded candidate picture. You've got the one good one where you were at the Cheshire TV studios here. We need to get you something a little more professional looking, and because all you've got are your older pictures, and you're moved on. You've passed all that. You're ready to be the new Darryl.
And one of the things that I've been doing recently to maintain my health is I've been putting Super Beets in my smoothies and drinking that. Not every day, because, it's not easy to wind up taking Super Beets with you when you're going through the airport, because it's a powder, and, sometimes they might be, nope, that's a container larger than 3 ounces, and so we have to take it. So when I'm traveling recently, I've not been taking the Super Beets, but when I'm not traveling, I put Super Beets in my smoothies, and again, it helps maintain my heart health. It has some kind of nitric oxide, not nitrous oxide. That's something totally different.
Damn it.
But it's got dietary nitrates, and that helps your blood pressure. And it winds up giving you a little boost of energy. And if you don't feel a boost of energy about 20 minutes after you take Super Beets, you don't pay guaranteed results, or you don't pay guaranteed. Get a free 30-day supply absolutely free with your first order. You'll also get the nitric oxide indicator strips. Use those before and after you use the Super Beets, and then you can see that it's working. Plus, if you order, you will get the free book, Beat the Odds, and all of that comes to you with free shipping. 800-951-8940, FTLbeats.com, or 800-951-8940, FTLbeats.com. We'll get back to the debate thing and sort of the recap, some of the backlash against me that's come about from some people that aren't happy that I'm promoting radical libertarian ideals. We'll jump back into that, but first, to the phones and the fun. We have Tom in New Hampshire. Tom, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Good evening. I got an email about a U.S. Senator Kelly Ayotte campaign event in Derry, New Hampshire that occurred this evening. So I RSVP'd and printed up the tickets, and I went out there. And before the event, I was hanging around outside. There were some protesters out there, and they were all set there. And there were some cops. There 3 U.S. senators were to attend the event, by the way. And so there I am handing out some papers explaining how to defeat Donald Trump, even if he wins the Republican nomination. Like I've explained to you people, there's other steps to appointing the electors, and it's not a elector pulling a fast one. It's more of a matter of people who are in charge of appointing the electors deliberately appointing people who they know will vote against Donald Trump.
And the people that are the people that are responsible for appointing those electors are generally the state chairs of the 51 affiliates of the Republican Party. And do you think that the state chair of, say, the New Hampshire Republican Party would do something that they know that the National Republican Party is not going to like?
Well, what would happen is the state convention delegates, which is anybody who's a nominee for state representative, anybody who runs for state for delegate to the state convention, is about 2 steps above jury duty as far as being a high-ranking government official, being a delegate to the state convention.
Well, that's how it happens in New Hampshire. It doesn't happen that way in every state.
But what I'm getting at is I'm handing out these papers explaining this, and then I head on in and hand in my ticket, and I go on into the event. I'm waiting there, and the gentleman said, "Excuse me, sir, you come on downstairs with me." And I come on down. "I'm sorry, sir. I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to leave. It's a private event." And I said, "But because he said it was a private event, I protested that I had a ticket. I know he did." And then you can't really. I just left at that point, because if you ask why, it sounds like you're not going to leave unless they give you a reason, and they don't have to have a reason.
What do you suspect is the reason?
It's not anything I did wrong at the event. I think it's who I am, and they don't like the fact that I support liberty and think logically and stuff like that.
Have you ever in the past have you bird dogged or vocalized your discontent with the senator in the past?
Yeah, I've met her a few times. At one time when she announced that she was running for United States Senator, and I walked up to her after she finished the speech and said, this was, by the way, in 2010. I said, now, I'm going to be voting in that primary, so I need to know where you stand on a political issue. Are you one of those Republicans like Congressman Ron Paul who want to legalize drugs now? Or are you one of those Republicans who still want to wait until more cops get themselves killed in shootouts first? And
she
this was
responded?
the former Attorney General. She was the former Attorney General, Kelly Ayotte, said, "Oh, actually, I have to say that I disagree with you." And when I was a state rep back in 2001, it became known that I support liberty and think logically and support people's right to resist the drug raids by any necessary means. And some people thought that, the rule of law preempts unalienable rights when it's actually the other way around by definition of unalienable. And I was just... that was back in 2001 when they found out that I support liberty and think logically. And I've been very vocal about people's right to liberty. And they know that I'm not exactly one of her supporters, so they... After I had handed in the ticket, I guess they took a look at who I was and everything. Anyway, I set up a website explaining the process. But
so, Tom, let me ask you this question real quick. If you support liberty, why are you in the Republican Party that has, over the last 150 years, destroyed liberty on so many occasions?
Well, when I get into the voting booth, that doesn't necessarily mean that I vote for the Republican nominees. But it's you can't. First of all, I ran as a Republican in 2000 because you don't get elected if you run as a Libertarian. And since then, it's
not true. There were Libertarians in the New Hampshire State House back in the 1990s.
Yeah, but
before the Republicans and Democrats colluded to remove them from the ballot, so you can get elected.
It's much easier to run on a tickets.
That's not the same as saying you can't.
Okay.
Saying you can't, and then there's evidence that you can.
Right.
Is the complete opposite of it's just easier.
But I don't.
If your point is it's easier, then say it's easier. Don't say you can't when there's evidence that you can.
Yeah. Well, I tried it as a Libertarian. I ran as a Libertarian, and I didn't get elected. And then I ran after running twice as a Libertarian, once as a Democrat, and then finally I ran as a Republican and got elected. So,
Tom, next time you talk to the senator or go to one of her events, take your camera with you. That would have been great video.
No kidding.
Would have been wonderful video.
If you don't want to blog it, you can send it to any of us, and we'll blog it for you.
Tom, thank you for the call, and your calls welcome, 855-450-FREE.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com. So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
You can watch the LRN Studio Cam and chat with other listeners anytime at cam.lrn.fm. That's cam.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, the live Thursday night edition. In studio tonight is Darryl,
Chris,
and Conan.
Conan, you are getting something off your chest this evening because, well, you haven't been on the show since Saturday, and the thing that you're upset about, or not really upset per se,
is old news.
It's kind of old. We discussed it briefly on Monday when I was on, recapping the debate that I participated in over the weekend, last weekend down in Biloxi, Mississippi, where I debated 10 other Libertarian Party presidential candidates. And, well, there are people that aren't happy that I, on the debate stage, said that I wanted to abolish the largest terrorist organization in the world, known as the United States federal government.
McAfee clapped, and he clapped loudly.
And a bunch of people in the audience clapped
I heard.
as well. And so because of that statement, there have been people that have completely taken out of context what I said. There was a guy that has a podcast. I don't know if it's an actual radio show, but he calls it a radio show, where he misquoted me horribly and said that I said, burn it to the ground. I never said the words burn. I never said burn it to the ground. I don't think I even mentioned the word burn at all while I was in Biloxi.
What did you say, abolish?
Abolish.
All right. What is the definition of abolish in Darryl W. Perry terms? Define it for us. Just
to get rid of.
To walk away from?
To get rid of. To walk away from.
To burn it to the ground.
To burn it to the ground.
and
exactly.
Again, let me just clarify. When I say get rid of the federal government, I'm not saying get rid of the 50 state governments. I'm not saying get rid of the governments of all of the territories. I'm not saying get rid of the 9,696 jurisdictions that charge a sales tax.
Get rid of that huge,
get rid of
horribly unnecessary level.
I'm just saying get rid of one level of government. Just one.
But that's the biggest one.
Yeah. And who's going to build the roads?
The same people that build them now.
No, that wouldn't fly. Who's going to fight our wars? Who's going to protect all?
Who's going to drone bomb the innocent children in Yemen? Hopefully nobody.
Darryl, if we don't, like Trump says, if we don't bomb their families and their kids, then we're never going to stop the terrorists.
They'll do it to us.
We got to go to the kids and the families.
And I also explained bomb science during the debate. Bomb science is, they bomb us, we get mad. We bomb them, they get mad. They bomb us, and it's this circle of violence that just needs to stop.
But who stops? Do they have to stop first, or who gets the last word? Because that's really what it's about.
I'm not interested in being involved in your hypothetical bar fight. I just want to stop it. If you're in a bar fight, stop swinging your fist.
And your suggestion...
And eventually, people will stop swinging fists because they're not getting hit anymore.
And your suggestion to abolish or burn it to the ground comment is the right answer, the right solution, because... I'm already at that point where I know I'm stopped. I don't want this bar fight any longer.
Yeah.
But they're taking my money anyways to fund their wars, and if I stand up to the taxpayer or to the tax collector and say, hey, no, I'm going to hold on to this money because I know where it's going. It's going to kill people. They'll do what they're doing to the Bundys. They'll do what they, any type of they're
right, and
they're
that's
cracking down
scary.
on these individuals.
It's scary to stand up for what you believe in. But there are people that don't want to have a principled message being delivered.
Or they want to actually get the 5% or however many percent they need. And when some...
The 5%, and by the way, the 5%, that does not guarantee ballot access, which is what they're claiming. They're like, we get major party status if we get 5%. What you get at 5% is you then qualify for a federal welfare check to pay for your convention, and I don't want any part of that.
Exactly what libertarians should be looking for.
Yeah, libertarians should not be looking for a damn welfare check from the federal government to pay for their convention.
Well, all right, so what I wanted to get off my chest, I finally got to see this debate. I was very impressed. And then I read the articles in response, the tallies, the report cards, and everyone's mad. Well, not everyone, but there are a couple of individuals who are mad at the one libertarian who was on that stage who was actually speaking libertarian, and everyone else is just leaning towards a little bit of liberty. They want to get that 5%, or they want to reach the left and the right. But as far as principles, they're politicians.
Yeah,
and it's sickening. I mean, what do we have to do to get the word out there that the answer isn't sucking up to the powers that be, to the authoritarians? It's stick up for yourself, stick up for the individual,
right?
And get and burn it to the ground.
But I think, yeah, and to me, it's a matter of degrees, and it's a matter of how far you've progressed. And when I first got into this whole liberty thing, and it was just because of Ron Paul and, a guy I could agree 80% of the time on, that's changed. But it takes time for you to be able to understand some of these concepts, and it's not to understand them. I think anybody can understand the argument, but to be able to go against, years and years and years of programming that we've had in this society that say this is how it is, and to get to a point where you can go, well, no, this doesn't have to be how it continues.
So let me ask you this question, Chris. You said that it was Ron Paul that sort of got you interested in sort of politics sort of stuff. Had he been speaking instead of
politics or liberty in general?
No. Ron Paul, I've been active and involved in politics since the Reagan years.
Okay, but
but as a complete
neocon,
sort of Republican,
thing.
Yeah.
Right. So if Ron Paul were giving a watered down version of his message,
you mean like Rand?
Would it have attracted you to the ideas of liberty?
Probably. If what you're saying is Ron Paul is liberty, but you're probably right, and I'll tell you exactly.
No, so if instead of Ron Paul having said on, I forget if it was a debate stage or in an interview where he actually wound up saying that yes, heroin should be legal. Had he never said that, would it have made you think, well, maybe heroin should be legal?
No, that to me wasn't controversial. That was just me going, wow, somebody's actually out there saying it. The things that intrigued me about Ron Paul were he was talking about things that I wasn't well versed in, Austrian economics, the role of the Federal Reserve. My peripheral understanding of Ron Paul was, okay, he's a fringe guy, and he's just going on because there's some conspiracy theory about this. But what got me even looking at Ron Paul was my disgust with every other candidate out there. There was nobody on either side that I could say, I'm interested in this person and I want to move forward. It was nothing. And Ron Paul, I was like, well, I haven't really given him too much thought before. Let's take a look.
Yeah, and there was one of the debates where Ron Paul, I believe he quoted the Golden Rule and wound up getting booed by a Republican audience.
Yeah.
For quoting the Golden Rule do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Yeah, but he was talking about ending wars. Which is what the Republicans love.
Right. So do unto others. If you don't want them bombing you, don't bomb them. It's pretty simple.
It's very simple. It's extremely easy to understand. It's kindergarten learning.
Yeah.
Just don't hit your buddy, and guess what? You're probably not going to get hit back.
But I'm going to tell you what, as somebody who spent 20, 30 years as a neocon, as a hardcore Republican. It takes a while to deprogram your mind to where you can accept that sort of thing.
My dad. Yeah. Prime example. I've been working on him for years, and I don't know that I'll ever get through to him.
Let's go to the phones real quick. Thomas calling in from Michigan. You're on Free Talk Live with Darryl, Chris, and Conan. What's on your mind?
Okay. Listen, everybody's getting down on Mitt Romney today, and I just don't think they understand what was going on over there, For example, if you had the Buffalo Bills coming to town and they were going to give a speech, hello?
Yeah, I'll hold you over. Somehow you're comparing Mitt Romney to the Buffalo Bills, who lost 4 consecutive Super Bowls.
I get it.
Sounds about right. So we'll be back with Thomas, and your thoughts are welcome. 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live, and of course LRN.FM on Skype.
February is National Heart Month, and chances are you have a cardiovascular issue like I do. I help maintain my healthy heart by drinking Super Beets. It's a superfood powder that I mix with water, but you can mix it with yogurt or put it in a smoothie, whatever you want. Not only does it help boost my circulation and support my healthy blood pressure naturally, but I feel the energy and stamina boost in about 20 minutes, which no other superfood formula guarantees. All the beets from Super Beets come from one non-GMO farm in California, so they can keep a close eye on the production of the dietary nitrates. I want you to try this product for National Heart Month. And if you don't feel the results, you don't pay, guaranteed. Get a 30-day supply free with your first order. You also get nitric oxide indicator strips so that you can see it's working. Plus, get the free book, Beat the Odds. And all of this comes with free shipping. Call 800-951-8940 or visit FTLbeats.com. I believe in Super Beats. 800-951-8940, FTLbeats.com.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-403-4885. That's 1-800-403-4885. 1-800-403-4885. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop, you save. Get full details in the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
If you're looking for work, or even if you're not, here's an innocent mistake you really want to avoid. Never return calls before listening to your voicemail. Your wireless phone sends calls you didn't answer into voicemail, and it shows you phone numbers for calls you missed. Important. Don't call back callers you missed until you have first listened to your messages. Otherwise, you frustrate people who bothered to leave messages by asking them to repeat a message they just left as your voicemail greeting instructed them to. If you're a job applicant, this alone could be a deal killer. And even if you're not, there are few things you can convey to someone that are as fundamentally maddening as, "I didn't hear you." With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips for job seekers and everyone else, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've been talking about the presidential election, but specifically the Libertarian Party's race for the presidency, because right now most people are talking only about the Republican race and the Democratic race, and they don't really pay attention to any of the other parties that exist.
It's not that they don't pay attention, it's that they don't even know. They're clueless. It's like libertarians, like, who? Even some of the popular ones like Johnson or McAfee. You say those names, and all they know about McAfee is he's a security guy, and what do they know about Johnson? Nothing.
Yeah, and there was one of the people that mentioned in the debate on Saturday that they heard somebody be asked the question, somebody from New Mexico asked the question about, hey, you had this governor that was elected twice with like 60% of the vote, but he only wound up getting like 3.5% when he ran for president, and the response was, oh, it was that Gary Johnson?
Yep.
Same guy?
And
Really?
the guys who did know him, who agreed with him, would have just felt like their vote for Johnson would have been a wasted vote. And that is typical of American voters.
He doesn't have a shot. Doesn't have a chance.
They don't vote. They don't vote their conscience. It's the same. We were just talking about it earlier. It's like, well, if Sanders doesn't get it, we need you all to go out and vote for Hillary. And if Trump doesn't get it, and of course none of them want him to get it, or if Bush doesn't get it, we want you to vote for Cruz. It's like, as long as you keep your party in power. And it's like, that's the problem.
Right.
That's the friggin' problem.
Part of the problem we would not have if the electors were assigned proportionally instead of winner take all. So the difference there is, you may recall in 1992, where Bill Clinton wound up winning the presidency with, like 38% of the popular vote. where I don't think any of the candidates got a majority of the vote in any state because there was a very strong showing by Ross Perot, who came within a few percentage points of winning Maine, by the way. But because, these candidates all wound up scoring somewhere in the 30-odd% range, they won the popular vote, so thus they won all of the electors.
I have another interesting concept. What about if you don't get a certain percentage of the vote, you don't get any candidate?
Yeah. I think that voter turnout should have to be over 60% for the election to even be considered valid.
I mean, if we're going to keep the federal government and it's in the way that it's set up, if you can't get a certain amount of people to even show up to vote for you, no, we don't even. We'll just keep that position vacant.
Yeah, let's go back to the phones. We've got Thomas in Michigan. Thomas, you're back on Free Talk Live. You were comparing Mitt Romney to the Buffalo Bills.
Right. I think that we have to realize that Mitt Romney has always been ahead of the curve, ahead of his time, with Romney Care. And so we don't realize that he's just starting a new phase in his life. He's starting to be a stand-up comic, It's like if you had brought the Buffalo Bills to a show and they were going to give us advice on how to win a Super Bowl, everybody would go, oh, man, it's going to be funny, So,
well, they did come close 3 of the 4 times.
Are you saying that Mitt Romney is Are you saying he's a better comedian than he is a politician?
Or maybe he's saying that the Buffalo Bills should have had Mitt Romney as their kicker, and then they would have won a Super Bowl or 2.
Well, I'm just trying to throw a little lightheartedness into the situation. But really, I have to ask a question. Do you guys think that the Republican Party was behind this? Because it would seem to me that if anybody would have asked them if this would have worked, they would have just said, this is just going to add more fuel to Trump's fire.
Thomas, to be honest, I really don't think about the Republican Party that often.
Well, Thomas, I do. I do think they did. I think it's a coordinated attack, and this will be one of many that will be directed at Trump until the convention, with the goal of simply, we've got
having
to have
a brokered convention.
And we're talking about Romney coming out today saying we need to do everything in our power to vote anybody except Trump. Is this
right?
We're talking about the same story?
Romney had a press conference today, said that he was not announcing his candidacy. He was not announcing an endorsement of a single candidate, but then mentioned Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, and John Kasich, and said, quote, one of these men should be our nominee.
Ugh, horrible. Bunch of
anybody
but
Trump.
White horse for him. All right, thank you very much.
Thanks for the call.
Let's continue on the phones. We've got John calling in from Nevada. John, you're on Free Talk Live with Darryl, Chris, and Conan. What's on your mind?
Hi, guys. I saw Darryl's debate with the other leaders in the Libertarian race, and I thought Darryl did a fantastic job. He was clearly the only principled Libertarian on the stage.
So let me ask this question, John. Do you remember hearing me say the words, burn it to the ground, during the debate?
No, that's not something you would say. Now, one thing interesting I've heard in the last couple of days, I've heard an interesting metaphor being made that comparing the presidential election to the War of the Rings, and some writer wrote that orcs of every stripe are gathering under the banner of Donald Trump, and we need to band together and stop him, and we need to band together behind Rubio or Cruz. And I just answered these people, wait a minute, Rubio and Cruz are both running on a platform for how they're going to use the ring. There's only one candidate, even among the Libertarians, who's running on a platform that he's not going to use the ring, and that's Darryl Perry.
Yeah, and it's not just he's not going to use it. We're going to take it to the damn mountain, and we're going to throw it in the pit. What was the pit at the end of the? He's going to abolish it.
I've actually
Mordor.
Never seen the movies.
Okay, the whole object of all the stories, besides for a bunch of hobbits just walking around, it was to take the Ring of Power, which was the problem, and destroy it. Everyone else wanted to use it. to save their countrymen or to gain power and or whatever. That was the problem. The ring is the problem. And so I don't know what this meme is you're talking about. I'd like to see it where I guess you have Republicans that are coming out and saying that Trump is the problem and we need to save the ring.
Yeah, well, we need to all gather together against him, but they want to gather together under candidates who plan to use the ring to do evil.
Right.
So,
you're exactly right.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're all running on a platform to clean up Mordor. A little bit.
a little bit.
And I have heard Washington, D.C. referred to as Mordor on the Potomac. So it's a very fitting analogy.
Well, they also call Massachusetts Mordor, where all the orcs live. Where the Shire, where the hobbits live. You got Maine, where the dwarves live, and Vermont is where all the elves live.
Well, there's only one trustworthy hobbit running, and that's Darryl.
Darryl, you have hair on your feet?
I do not, but I do have kind of hairy toes.
There you go.
And I do like second breakfast. Second breakfast is basically how I wound up weighing 317 pounds about a year ago. And cut out second breakfast, cut out the 11s and all of the other,
you're a reformed,
7 meals.
You're a reformed hobbit.
Darryl W. Perry, a hobbit you can trust.
Exactly.
Somebody should make that meme. John, thank you so much for the call.
Make that picture with words on it. It's not a meme yet, Darryl.
Yes, make that a picture with words on it. And Conan, did you have anything else that you wanted to say?
I just wanted to read.
Wanted to read
the one comment. Hold on, let me get it up. All right, so this was at the JasonStapleton.com site, who I'm probably never going to listen to now but anyways, this is written by Remso Martinez, and he is talking
former
about
staffer.
He's
for
talking about
Austin
co-host
Peterson.
Darryl, who was at the debate. Perry is not a libertarian, pushing an anarchist agenda which is contradictory to ordered liberty. Perry didn't discuss anything of value. If there is one candidate on stage who embodied every bad marketing feature of the Libertarian Party, it was him. Discussing everything from abolishment of the federal government to dissolving the union. His outlandish statements didn't do anything but feed his small, fractional band of hardcore supporters.
Right, that's how I wound up getting 15% in the straw poll conducted at the end of the night.
While the other candidates reached the left and the right of the party, Perry was speaking simply to hear himself talk for the sake of doing so.
Actually, no, I was not speaking to hear myself talk. I was speaking to
do that sometimes.
promote the ideas of liberty.
Yes, you were talking to the actual people who care about liberty and care about the individual, and they don't suck up to the left or the right in order to get votes. You're actually, it was the last caller said it simply. There was one principled man on that stage. It was you, and I'm glad you're doing it, and I hope to see more of these debates from you.
Yeah, and I'll be heading down to Richmond, Virginia this weekend, where I will be debating one Gary Johnson, I believe, one-on-one. We'll be back with more of your calls after the news, 855 450 free, or on Skype, LRN.FM.
There comes a time when you need custom embroidered or screen printed apparel for your business, organization, or a special event. Corporate Casuals has been helping people create great looking logoed apparel for over 25 years. They can produce a single piece or thousands using name brand apparel like Nike, Patagonia, Adidas, and Hanes. Create your logo in their online embroidery design studio or upload your existing logo and they'll turn it into embroidery. Go to corporatecasuals.com/FTL and include on your order.
Currency is too important a thing to be left in the hands of government bureaucrats, especially when billions of dollars can be created with the swipe of a pen. Overstock.com supports the cryptocurrency movement because it returns the power of an inflation-proof money to the people where it belongs. Did you know that you can use Bitcoin to pay for anything Overstock.com sells while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more? If you support freedom in the cryptocurrency movement, you should support Overstock.com.
Why are you playing a slot machine sound for an online poker site?
Do you have a poker sound effect? Because we have a new advertiser, swcpoker.eu.
Brought to you by the same guys that did seals with clubs.
Now they're called swcpoker.eu. It's Bitcoin Poker 2.0. They have lots of new games, including Chinese poker. The Krill leaderboard is active now. It's Bitcoin Poker from the brand you trust, swcpoker.eu.
Get on over to swcpoker.eu and start playing now. The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, March 3rd, 2016. Silver is trading at $14.96 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,242 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $426. Antiwar.com reports the Islamic State attacked the town of Tel Abyad on the Syrian-Turkey border over the weekend, and fighting raged for several days. The Kurdish YPG is claiming victory, but a costly one, claiming over 200 people were killed in the fighting there. A YPG official reported 140 the Islamic State fighters were killed in the battle, along with 43 YPG fighters. 23 civilian bystanders were also slain in the course of the fighting over the key border crossing. Initial reports were that some of the Islamic State fighters who attacked Tel Abyad crossed in from the Turkish side of the border. U.S. airstrikes were launched around the area over the weekend, aiming to stall the advance of the Islamic State. The YPG seized Tel Abyad back in June and has held it in the face of several offensives by the Islamic State ever since. The town is the most convenient border crossing into Turkey from the Islamic State capital of Raqqa, and its loss has forced the Islamic State to use more roundabout paths. In 1999, Darryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Of the book, Dr. Brian Sovereign says, sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I think it's crazy, but it's always authentic. Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Darryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. UPI reports as the court fight between the U.S. Justice Department and Apple continues, Defense Secretary Ash Carter has said he's opposed to the government agency being given backdoor access to encrypted information. Speaking at the annual RSA conference in San Francisco on Tuesday, Carter told an audience that he does not support the argument that law enforcement agencies should be given protected data, such as that contained on a smartphone used by San Bernardino terror suspect Syed Farouk. He said, just to cut to the chase, I'm not a believer in backdoors or a single technical approach. I don't think it's realistic. That drew enthusiastic applause. While Carter's remarks do relate to the San Bernardino case, it's not entirely an apples-to-apples comparison. Justice officials have repeatedly said they're not asking for a backdoor to Farouk's phone. Instead, they are seeking a one-off software program that would disable a security feature on that particular device, which would then enable FBI technicians to break into it. Without that program, Farouk's iPhone will reset itself and erase all of its data if investigators enter the incorrect password too many times. Apple also fears that compliance in the San Bernardino case might impact many other similar cases in which investigators cannot access protected information. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports the U.S. Justice Department has given immunity to a State Department employee who set up an email server for former Secretary of State and current Democratic presidential frontrunner candidate Hillary Clinton, according to the Washington Post. A senior U.S. law enforcement official said the FBI had secured the cooperation of Brian Pagliano, who worked on Clinton's 2008 presidential campaign before setting up the server in her New York home in 2009. Last month, a federal judge ruled that State Department officials and aides to Clinton should be questioned under oath about whether her use of a private email server was an effort to skirt open record laws. The ruling added to the uncertainty hovering over Clinton about the legal consequences of her decision to use a private email server in her home for her government work. The FBI is investigating the decision to use a private server and is likely in coming months to ask Clinton and her aides how it was set up and whether any of the participants knew they were sending classified information and emails. Clinton returned about 30,000 emails to the State Department in 2014, but said she deleted thousands of others that her staff deemed not to be work-related. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
This is the Onion Week in Review. A month after the death of leader Kim Jong-il, North Korea's 24.5 million citizens have returned to their regular daily routines this week, holding a festive synchronized disco jump rope gala in Pyongyang's main public square. Life in the hermetic communist nation is reportedly beginning to normalize following the protracted mourning period, with citizens once again donning their brightly colored uniforms and performing intricate gymnastics routines in perfect unison.
It is an inspiring sight to see so many loyal citizens find the strength to unfurl their long silken streamers and do dozens of tandem backflips set to dance music.
Observers reported that new North Korean leader Kim Jong-un nodded once in approval of the disco jump rope gala, signaling an official transfer of power.
A recent study from the Centers for Disease Control finds that over 100 million children are being exposed to harmful levels of stupidity in their own homes. Hear the debate about secondhand ignorance on the next In the Know.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
We are kicking off our number 3 on this Thursday night. In studio, it's Darryl,
Chris,
and Conan.
And we've been talking about the presidential debates for some period of time. Also started off the show talking about the Bundy Ranch situation from about 2 years ago, where a dozen people were arrested today in connection to that. And we discussed their charges that basically sounds like a bunch of made-up stuff by some federal agent somewhere. And these people are now facing between 5 to 20 years in prison for each of the, I think it was half dozen, 10 charges, somewhere in that area.
For standing up for themselves and standing up for us, and how many people even know who these people are.
Yep. And standing up holding a gun, which makes the whole thing
which is what
bad.
really made it
Not
stick.
all of them were necessarily holding
they
gun.
They weren't.
They may have been possessing, but it was not necessarily in their hand.
And there were people there that were absolutely unarmed. So
yes,
but there were guns there, and that makes it bad.
And then there were people there like former Sheriff Richard Mack, who said if the feds start shooting, put the women and children up front. And I think that that's just an absolutely despicable thing to say, but that's just me. Let's go to the phones, and you can call in about pretty much anything that's on your mind. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Kenny calling in from Kentucky. Kenny, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hello. I just wanted to say how refreshing it is for Darryl Perry to be running for the Libertarian Party nomination, because he practically preaches unlike most candidates, and he's not including his private sector value that he provides to the economy. So I think that's pretty refreshing.
Thank you very much, Kenny. Anything else to add?
Not really. Just keep up the good work and keep practicing what you preach like you're doing right now.
Thank you
you're
very
a co-host on Free Talk Live instead of being out there on the campaign trail.
Yep. Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Kenny.
sir.
And if you want to help, then you could certainly show up in Orlando over Memorial Day weekend That's when the Libertarian Party has their actual nominating convention. So there's not this whole system of primaries and caucuses and delegates being pledged. Now, certainly there are a couple of states that do have a primary, North Carolina being one of them, and they just opened up their early voting today, and their primary goes on March 15th. Minnesota had a caucus last night that apparently I finished fourth in. I did not even know, or they had it Tuesday. I didn't even know until sometime last night that Minnesota had a caucus, and I saw the results, and I was like, oh, I came in fourth. That's pretty cool.
Now, is this the first year you've run for president?
Yes.
This is the first year you could have possibly run for president.
Oh, you're
is
old
it
enough,
not?
right?
It's the first year in which I was constitutionally eligible.
So two things. I mean, going back like 5, 10, 20 years, has this always been your thought? Have you always, because I used to have this thought was like, in year X, I'll be eligible to run.
Yes.
And yes, you have, haven't you? I knew it.
Since high school, yes.
Chris, Darryl is the original Manchurian candidate.
So that's my first thing. Second of all, you're talking about running off to all these places and doing all these things. Are you footing this bill all yourself, or is there a way that listeners can contribute to your campaign?
People can contribute to the campaign, and that's how I'm able to afford most of the trips that I'm taking is through campaign contributions. And I'm not taking PayPal or credit card. So if you want to donate, you need to have precious metals or cryptocurrency. So you don't have to necessarily have Bitcoin. There was somebody donated a large amount of Dogecoin.
Nice, that's
and
still around.
Using Shapeshift,
yeah,
it converted to Bitcoin on my end.
Nice.
So I never had to look at the Dogecoin other than to see, the transaction because he had told me, like, hey, I sent you blah, 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 Dogecoin.
How is Doge in the scheme of things? What ranking is it at?
I gotta look that one up.
Absolutely no
number
clue.
5, number 6.
I think about Dogecoin slightly more than I think about the Republican or the Democratic parties, which is to say that I don't really think about Dogecoin that often.
It's just a novelty.
It was the best looking cryptocurrency. I gotta say, I like that.
I do have to say that that's a mighty handsome dog.
Okay.
That they have
well, I don't
mascot.
have a real recent price, but it looks like it was at the end of February. It was 6058 of a Bitcoin.
Wow.
I'll have to dig into
So
that.
that's
convert that.
What, like 85 or 58 Satoshi? Basically, it's 58 Satoshi. Satoshi is the smallest amount of Bitcoin that one can have. And Bitcoin, for people that aren't familiar, is a decentralized currency that is not controlled by any bank or any government. And I'm fairly certain that our next caller, calling in from the beautiful South American country of Uruguay, can explain a little bit more about Bitcoin. Stephen, you're on Free Talk Live with Darryl, Chris, and Conan. What's on your mind?
Howdy. Thanks for having me. I wanted to talk about the Libertarian Party debate. I caught it the other day. Everyone's saying, they're saying there's only one Libertarian, Darryl W. Perry. And
there's other people, Stephen, other people are saying that I'm not a libertarian because I'm espousing what they consider to be anarchist ideas.
Right. Well, I think they may be confused because you haven't been saying the really basics of the non-aggression principle, like really blaming a lot of things on the non-initiation of force and, jumping to the government should be abolished. I can see why that might be a communist thing, unless you explain the non-aggression principle. And it's a great opportunity to explain to these other supposed libertarians what the party's all about.
He talked about the circle of war, and that made a lot of sense.
Yeah, the circle of violence, and I'm fairly certain I did touch briefly, and maybe I didn't during the debate on Saturday, but I know I bring it up quite frequently, what I call equality of right. Meaning that everybody has the same equal rights. No one has the ability to delegate a right that they don't have. And since I don't have a right to take anybody else's stuff, then I can't delegate that to anyone else. And no group can claim a right that no individual member of the group has. So if I can't take your stuff, no group that I belong to can take your stuff. That includes governments.
Yeah, Totally agree. And I think the circle of war was a great point. But I think a lot of people could see that in other ways when it comes to like regulating doctors or this or that. Just bringing it back to that non-initiation of force. They probably don't even see that. They don't even see the force.
And, it's something that I am having to come to realize is that there are people in the Libertarian Party that don't understand basic libertarian ideology. And sometimes you do have to go back and explain it. Start at 101. And, I'm over here doing like I wouldn't necessarily say a doctor level course, but, definitely higher bachelor's, entry level master's.
Well, I agree with you, Stephen, and it's a trap I find myself falling into, too. And I think a lot of people, if you're liberty-minded and you're surrounded by a lot of liberty people and that's who you hang out with, you can have these conversations. You can get right to the point. You can say we should abolish our local law enforcement. And to most people, that sounds like, you mean nobody will be there to protect us? And it's like, well, no. I mean, you might have private police forces or things like that. But we do end up getting kind of caught in that trap that we get it. All our friends get it. People we talk to all the time get it, but your average person doesn't.
That's actually one of the worst things about being a libertarian is that when we do go out to hang out, when we go to the bar, have a drink, and socialize, we always end up talking about politics or how to the right answer to the question, how to handle certain circumstances.
I disagree because when I go to the bar to hang out on Tuesday nights,
you don't. Oh, you did the trivia.
Because I'm either doing trivia or the one place that I go, they stop doing trivia on Tuesdays temporarily.
When you go to hang out with us.
Yeah, when I hang out with the Liberty people, then I am talking philosophy. When I'm not around Liberty people, I'm for the most part either working or something else. Hey, we'll take your calls, and Stephen, hold on, we'll take your calls 855-450 free.
Going back to the my victim thing, you cost me a lot of misery, and all total, $2,700 in doggy fees, and all it took was one container of Dynamite, 2 pounds, 3 ounces, and my dog has been cured. Abby's a 5-year-old Silky Terrier. She had, like, chicken pox on her belly, clusters of bumps on her back, and she was allergic to, like, 70-some-odd things. So the dermatologist, it was, just keep giving her needles every 10 days. But she's not clearing up. And then it came up on my radio, Dynamite. DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000.
And I was like, that's it. I give her the Dynamite after 5 weeks. And one morning there was nothing there. And I'm like, oh, my God, she's all clear. There wasn't one blemish on her body. Her fur is beautiful. She is totally happy. She is as healthy, bump-free, pimple-free, shiny, silky. It turned our lives around. So thank you very much for Dynamite. I couldn't be happier. Dynamite's the bomb.
859-428-1000. 859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Is negative content or comments on the web affecting your personal or professional reputation? Unfavorable comments, embarrassing pictures, videos, legal documents, and negative articles can ruin your personal life, your career, or your business. It happens a lot, and it's just not fair. But what can you do? ReputationDefender.com can help protect your good name. Get a free consultation now. Call 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Call right now for a free expert reputation analysis. It's easy to squash the unfair attacks with our patented system, and the analysis is absolutely free. Make the best things about you jump out in searches. Protect your personal and professional reputation, your business, and your income. Get your free reputation analysis from ReputationDefender.com right now. Call 800-831-0771. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com today.
Free Talk Live.
Did you say that you prostituted yourself when you were 10 years old?
I was doing something of a sexual nature in return
was that
for...
a woman or a...
It was a next-door neighbor. He was probably around 16.
So he took advantage of you?
No, sir. He didn't take advantage of me.
He corrupted you morally?
No, sir. It was my choice to climb into his window. It was my choice, Lou. It was my choice to take my pants off and get into his bed. It was all my choice, Lou.
Listen to me, Ian. You do not have the right at the age of 10 to make that decision.
Don't you dare tell me what I can and can't do, Lou.
I'm telling you, he molested you.
No, Lou.
You don't even realize.
Lou, you don't understand what molestation is. Molestation is unwanted sexual advances. I consented. I know you don't believe that's possible. I know me better than you know me, Lou.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The listen lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308.
Cryptocurrency and peer-to-peer tech developments happen fast. Stay in the loop with the Daily Decrypt, a new video channel and podcast that will keep you on top of the latest innovations in crypto finance, security, networking, transportation, and gadgetry like drones and 3D printers. Subscribe to the Daily Decrypt on YouTube and SoundCloud and be an early adopter of the future. The Daily Decrypt.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's the toll-free call-in line. And, of course, there's also Skype. And generally, as long as you have a decent internet connection and a pretty good microphone, you will sound a lot better. And you can sound almost as good as Steven, who is calling all the way from Uruguay. And since he is, I know he is online because he's on the Skypes. And, well, he's probably concerned about his privacy. And I believe Steven is one of the people that protects his privacy online because the internet was meant to be used anonymously if you want it to be, and you can use it without oversight. But many governments and companies are thriving off of this lack of privacy, but ProXPN can give you that privacy back. ProXPN is a virtual private network that encrypts your data right from your computer or mobile device. And ProXPN offers OpenVPN, the gold standard of network encryption. With apps for Windows, Mac, iOS, and Android, they also have Linux support as well. And unlike other VPNs, ProXPN keeps no logs of your activities whatsoever. With more servers being added all the time, ProXPN works hard to give you greater speed and security compared to other VPNs. If you're a Windows user, ask ProXPN about changing your DNS settings for even greater anonymity. They take credit cards, and they also take Bitcoin. And if you use the code FTL50, you can get 50% off the regular monthly price for the lifetime of an annual account. It can end up being cheaper per month than a good cup of coffee, although I don't drink coffee, but it's cheaper than a good smoothie from a smoothie shop.
With beets in it.
Use the internet the way it was meant to be. Go to proxpn.com right now. Use code FTL50 and take back the privacy that is your right. proxpn.com, code FTL50. Back to the phones, or in this case to the Skypes, where we have Steven on the line from Uruguay. Steven, you're on Free Talk Live.
I'm actually we're using ProXPN down here in Uruguay, and we were trying to listen to Pandora radio the other day, and it said you're blocked because you're in Uruguay.
Wow!
You know what,
Did
Steven?
you fix that,
Steven?
We turned on the
just
VPN,
got,
and then it worked because they thought we were in the United States.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, I got blocked the other day using ProXPN Canada, so I was enjoying Canada's Netflix titles.
Absolutely.
And they finally caught on, and they blocked me, so I had to change. And I thought I was going to be, all addresses were going to be affected, but Nope, it's just Canada. So I
So
guess,
what are some of the Canadian sitcoms, like Our Three Cruises?
oh, I don't watch. I haven't gotten that far. I only got to view the titles for I only got to view the titles for a couple of days.
I'll tell you, I do that too, and I'm a real geek sometimes. But if I'm like looking to download something massive from one of the major tech companies, which are typically in California, I'll set up my VPN, and I don't use ProVPN, but I use other ones. But I'll set up so I'm connected directly to California over VPN, and I'll get a little bit faster speed through.
Nice, because
transfer.
then it doesn't have to take the bullet train across the country and stop in Houston.
Bounce around. Yeah.
So, Stephen, what's on your mind?
Yeah, well, we were talking about the presidential election. I find it slightly irrelevant, but there is a much more important election going on right now, and it's the election in the Bitcoin world between the Bitcoin Classic and the Bitcoin Core. It's two teams of people deciding the fate of Bitcoin and how it's going to work in the future.
Okay, so for the people that are only mildly involved in Bitcoin, like I kind of know what's going on with this Classic versus Core thing. There are listeners that barely understand that Bitcoin even exists. So sort of explain the difference between the two and explain the war.
The important thing to understand is that Bitcoin is a totally open source project, so it's not controlled by any central party, which most of you know that. But that means that if one group of people disagree about how Bitcoin is being run, then they can start their own version and try to change it and try to convince other people to use their version. And so a group of people were upset with the older version of Bitcoin, Bitcoin Core, which is currently running the main software that they're running.
Mm-hmm.
So they started a new thing called Bitcoin Classic, which is mainly backed up by people like wallet providers, Coinbase, blockchain.info, people who want to see more end user like retail transactions. So a lot of the retail transaction people are supporting Bitcoin Classic right now to make payments faster and to support that use case. So people in New Hampshire would be affected because if they're trying to like buy something with Bitcoin at the local burger. Bitcoin Classic is arguing that they're supporting that customer, whereas Bitcoin Core is arguing they might be supporting more of an institutional customer.
So, Stephen, can I ask you where do you stand on this, and can you talk a little bit? I know part of this has to do with scalability, or do both address it in different ways?
It is all about scalability, and I think the Bitcoin Core is more conservative. It's because the miners that control Bitcoin are all in China, and they claim to have bandwidth constraints because of the firewall in China.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to be very conservative with how much bandwidth the network uses. So they're going for more optimization, whereas people outside of China who want to do retail payments aren't so worried about bandwidth. So they want to increase the bandwidth instead of optimize the current code.
Gotcha.
I'm kind of torn. I think eventually they'll work it out. They'll probably get both, and it'll probably take longer than either of them want.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the sort of compromise that's going to have to happen? Is it something to where they, just sort of work it out to where they wind up getting both things, or is one side going to bully its way through? And how exactly does this work?
Well, eventually they're going to have to increase the bandwidth that the network consumes.
Otherwise, is that the block size?
Yeah, that's the block size.
Okay. That has to occur for Bitcoin to continue to grow.
Mm-hmm.
For more transactions to happen and more users to come on board, that has to happen. Otherwise, transactions will become much more expensive. So, like yesterday, I was sending a payment, and the default fee was 4 cents, but my payment didn't go through, so I had to raise it up to 40 cents.
Wow!
In order to get it to go through. That wouldn't have been a problem if the bandwidth or the block size was higher.
But 4 cents is still minimal compared to, what is it, with credit cards? It's like 3.9% plus a 30-cent per transaction fee.
He said 40
plus
cents.
Plus regulation. Yeah,
right.
But plus government regulation.
Right, but still, even if you go to 40 cents, you're still not paying the 3.9% plus that transaction fee. Stephen, thank you for the call. And your calls and thoughts, welcome, 855-450-FREE.
Don't know what's in your drinking water? Better get a ProPure. With the Pro 1 G2.0 all-in-one filter, remove over 200 contaminants, including fluoride and lead. Taste water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure water filtration products. There's a ProPure system for you. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details on our current free shipping special or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way.
You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, hey,
Who do you think you are?
Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't gonna make it. Wait on the counter. Now.
Wait a minute.
Whoa.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Thursday, gold is up $6 at $1,247 per ounce. Silver is 10 cents higher at $15.10 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $421 US. We love Bitcoin and offer same-day shipping and no minimum purchase requirement when you use the digital currency. Check out our website at rrbi.co where you can use Bitcoin to buy silver and gold, or give us a call at 800-874-9760.
Did you know that you can listen to and watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cam at cam.freetalklive.com? Not only that, but you can also chat with other listeners at the same time. Do I need to mention that both the studio cam and chat room are totally free? Outside of Free Talk Live's live hours, you won't see a cam feed, but will hear audio from the Liberty Radio Network. So listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
If you are successful at what you do, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, or you have a great career, you understand the concept of protecting yourself. Well, are you protecting yourself, your family, and your assets with quality term life insurance? Consider these possible rates. A man age 45 non-tobacco user could obtain $1 million of coverage for as little as $75 a month, and this rate is fixed for the next 10 years. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. A man age 50 non-tobacco user may be able to obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $115 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 20 years. We have great rates for smokers too. Call the Term Lifeline now. 800-872-0403, 800-872-0403, 800-872-0403.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Still time for your thoughts if you call in fairly soon. In studio tonight on this Thursday, it's Darryl,
Chris,
and Conan.
And we've been pretty much all over the board tonight. Started off talking about the situation with, I believe it was a dozen individuals getting arrested across the country from New Hampshire out to Utah and Nevada and Arizona. All of those arrests in connection to the Bundy Ranch situation from 2 years ago, but the arrests are just now rolling in. Then we spent some time talking about the presidential election, and we've been talking about Bitcoin. And, well, not everybody fully understands Bitcoin, but not everybody fully understands the ideas of liberty. And there's a bunch of other things that people don't fully understand.
I would say there are a bunch of folks out there who don't understand the Federal Reserve Note and how it is created and used and who actually controls it.
Yeah, and when people ask me
but they
about
have faith in it. That's what really it's the kicker.
When people ask me about Bitcoin, or they say, "Well, I don't understand it enough to use it," my response is, well, I don't understand the way the internal combustion engine works, but I still drive a car.
Yeah.
And, well, we'll take your calls about that or pretty much anything that's on your mind. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We now go not quite international because Guam is a U.S. territory, but we do go part ways overseas to Kyle calling in from Guam. Kyle, you're on Free Talk Live with Darryl, Chris, and Conan. What's on your mind?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good.
Hey, I just got one question for Conan. Conan, why did you open my eyes to the Mandela effect, especially the Berenstein Bears thing? It really messed me up, man.
If I could, that's all I would ever talk about on this show is interesting concepts like the Mandela effect, which is the idea that it's a widespread misconception by many of an event that really didn't take place, or maybe it did take place and took place in an alternate reality, and who the hell knows when it got flip-flopped. But are there any examples that you found on your own that we didn't discuss last week?
Oh man, well, not specifically, but any other examples. But the Berenstein Bears thing really got me. I mean, I've been surveying my friends since then, and all of them are saying the same thing I said: was it should be an E instead of an A, and all of a sudden our entire childhood has been false.
I'm with you, caller, man. I was the same way. I left there and I'm going, what else is false in my life?
Yeah,
what other beliefs have I held that are just gone?
Yeah, I think that there are hundreds of little tiny ones that we experience every single day, but we don't have a audio or video record of what I said to Darryl last week, and I misconstrued it, and I think I said something different to him.
But that doesn't mean that you live in an alternate reality. It means you misremembered.
That's what the whole point is why. Why did we misremember?
Because our brains are fallible.
Well, what I've been doing is I've been describing this effect to everybody I've talked to, everybody I've come in contact with, describing this Medusa effect. And
the Medusa effect. Well, was that intentional, or were you trying to see if we would catch?
I am testing this theory. I'm trying to start my own. I'm trying to promote the Medusa effect.
Now, and I think I discussed, I'm a big conspiracy guy, and so, of course, Darryl's jumping down my throat, and he's yelling at me and all, but so I'm not a big, crazy, alternate reality guy. There are other conspiracies that I'm more concerned with. I just thought it was interesting, and I think that with the internet, with all the people jumping on board, I think that we're going to find even more of these cropping up in the next couple of years. Just weird, little letter differences. That's what really it boils down to.
I don't know.
I just don't understand how me and just everyone could possibly all have the same
misconception
of It's not a misconception. We're right, man. We're right.
Yeah.
There's no way we would pronounce it Berenstein or Berenstein if it was spelled A-I-N.
Yeah, it's a glitch in the matrix.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, that's all I really had to call. Except Darryl, I'll tell you, I'm voting for you here, but you know that my vote doesn't count.
Yeah, well, and the fact of the matter is that my vote doesn't count either, but because you live in a territory, your vote counts even less than mine.
Yeah. Oh,
and you guys do. This is something interesting, and I'm glad you mentioned the election there, because Guam does have a presidential straw poll, even though there's no electors that come out of Guam, but none of the other territories do this in the general.
Yeah.
So the Republican and Democratic Party, they'll give the territories primaries, and they send delegates based on that. But Guam will actually do a presidential straw poll on election night in November.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we are actually a bellwether. So, since the 80s, we predicted the correct president.
Hey, hopefully you can throw that bell off the island and cause it to capsize by getting everybody to vote for Darryl W. Perry in Guam. Because could you imagine the headlines?
Oh, yeah.
If somebody other than a Republican or a Democrat wins Guam. It happened and Kyle, thank you for the call. It happened in 92 or 96 when the Libertarians actually had a primary in New Hampshire for the presidential primary, and a Libertarian won the primary in Dixville Notch.
Wow.
To where somebody spent out of their pocket money to buy a subscription to Reason Magazine to everybody that lives in Dixville, which there's only 20 voters, so it's not a big investment, but still an investment nonetheless, and it wound up getting major headlines of Libertarian wins the New Hampshire primary in Dixville.
But that just proves the point that no one is aware of the Libertarian Party. No one is aware of the freedom fighters who are out there who are in support of you, the individual, and will work for you to make your lives better. But they don't know that they even exist. They just see this two-party system, and they see what the mainstream media it shovels down their gullets.
Or they'll
every
see something in a newspaper about it or on the news, and then think, "Oh yeah, that thing."
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And if I don't vote for this guy, then this guy's going to get it because it's really only down to two. And we talked about this last week. I really do think that many of the voters couldn't handle more than two individuals to vote on.
I do not believe that.
American voters.
Yeah,
I don't even believe that about American voters.
I think they haven't been exposed to it in so long that they
wouldn't know what to do if there was a third football team on the field. What does that mean?
Right, and I will agree that in a lot of ways Americans are into this whole binary sort of thing of
black, white.
It's either Coke or Pepsi. What do you mean RC Cola is your favorite? No, the choices were Coke and Pepsi.
Sure.
And then football, soccer, this, that. There's always a binary of options that people are presented with, but there are so many other things. When you go to the restaurant, your choices aren't fish or chicken. You can have fish, chicken, beef, pork. You could have the vegetarian plate. You could have the vegetarian plate with surf and turf.
And when you go to the supermarket and you want to get some Pop-Tarts, it's not red and blue Pop-Tarts. You have friggin' 30 different Pop-Tarts to choose from.
But do I buy store brand or do I buy the name brand?
And that's what people... Yeah, exactly.
And then
you have your
name
generics.
brand?
And that's what the people want. But when it comes to politics, it's like, no, I just want one or two. Just one or that one.
But there's so many more things. So Vermont, Minnesota, they always have multiple parties on the ballot.
These are different people.
Your calls are welcome. 855-450 free.
Are you searching for your soulmate? Someone you can trust, who will never betray you or cooperate with the NSA? Stop searching. With EasyDNS, you found a keeper. EasyDNS does it all. Domain names, web hosting, and managed WordPress hosting. EasyDNS stands up for your internet freedom, and with servers in Canada, they do not cooperate with the NSA. Go to EasyDNS.com. You'll love their services or get a full refund. They guarantee it. And they accept Bitcoin. That's EasyDNS.com.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich, working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare, having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom106.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom, the number 106.com. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom106.com.
Looking for an excuse to come check out New Hampshire's liberty activism scene this fall? You're invited to Keenvention. Keenvention is your chance to meet dozens of key liberty activists from across the Shire. You can explore the beautiful little city of Keene, discuss various forms of activism with seasoned veterans, have fun at social events like the Hallow Keene Costume Dance Party, and learn about making the move. Keenvention received rave reviews last year. If you missed it, visit keenvention.info for full video coverage of every speaker and panel. Join old and new friends and neighbors in Keene for Keenvention this November 4th through November 6th. Tickets are available now for a special pre-order price of just $50 via credit card or Bitcoin. However, only 100 pre-order tickets are available, so reserve your tickets now at keenvention.info. Visit keenvention.info for more, or look for our page and event on Facebook. That's keenvention.info.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Listen to LRN.FM on any phone, anytime. 213-493-0309. That's 213-493-0309.
Still time for you and your thoughts. Maybe if you call in right now, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio on this Thursday, it's Darryl,
Chris,
and Conan.
And we've had a couple of people call in about the medulla oblongata effect, the Medusa effect, the Mickey Mouse effect, the Mandela effect,
the Berenstain Bears
the
effect,
Mandela effect,
the Nelson Mandela. Yeah, Chris was trying to throw me off by calling it the wrong thing, and so I just wanted to see how many weird things that aren't the actual name that I could come up with. and see if anybody winds up getting confused by it. We've got Jesse calling in from Austin, Texas. Jesse, what sort of false memories do you have?
Oh, well, the Bernstein Bears thing really got me because I remember that when I was a kid. It messed me up for like days. I didn't know what was up or down anymore. And I'm a very skeptical person, you know, so this wasn't, you know. But the one that really got me was the mirror on the wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
Magic Mirror. It's Magic Mirror
Yeah.
on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all?
I've been saying it wrong my whole life.
A lot of people have.
Yeah, it's not just you. It's pretty much everyone.
And that's not the only thing. I've heard people misquote Shakespeare, and it's like, you know, it's very easy to look in the book and see what was written down.
Yeah, but there are so many different variations of Shakespeare. Every single play might do it different, and one guy messes it up, and then it's just a downhill fall from there. But I mean, we're talking about Disney's Snow White. There's one of those.
Yes.
They didn't edit it. They didn't create another one afterwards. It's just the one. And so when did it get messed up? When did people misquote it? Did it happen recently? Did it, you know?
It's probably been that way. People misquote. Who was the guy in the thing that said that, do you feel lucky, punk? That's not what he said.
No.
People misquote that.
That's a huge, long stream of words, and people just shorten it to...
People misquote Darth frickin' Vader.
Yeah.
You know what? Why do you
Darth Vader, man.
Why do you hate the Medusa effect so much, Darryl?
Because I think that it's absolutely stupid. There, I said it.
Oh God, Jesse, I am in agreement with you, and I'm looking for finding more of these.
Jesse, set me straight on the medulla oblongata effect.
I just think it's been said wrong so many times that that's what got drilled into my head, that the original thing was only said once, and then lots of people said the wrong thing over and over and over again, and that's what I mean. You say a lie often enough and repeat it long enough.
Yep.
What do they say about that? You know,
it becomes the truth.
Yep.
And I think going forward, we'll be able to look back through social media, and we'll be able to go look at old interviews and TV shows. Somebody will be able to pinpoint where one of these went astray. You know what I mean? We can't do it on things in the past, but something that's occurring in the next 10 years.
Yeah, with some of the internet slang, you can see when, you know, some internet slang became a thing, and I think most internet slang is absolutely stupid.
You just don't like this linguistic, evolution of concepts, Darryl.
I do not like the hieroglyphification of the English language to where pretty soon people are just going to be speaking in emojis.
I know. I'm going to carry around a bunch of signs.
Chris, when you're talking about when it messed up, for example, the Beam Me Up Scotty.
Right.
I could see one of the actors, Chris Shatner, maybe himself, who was at one of these events.
Could have been.
And someone's like, "Hey, can you say that thing where you?" And he's like, "Beam me up, Scotty." And,
right.
And then it took off from there, and everyone got it wrong from that point.
Or he's on Johnny Carson, with millions and millions of Americans watching, and that's where it gets screwed up. But yeah, there is that point.
There are people that misremember the things that happened on Johnny Carson, where there's the story, the elaborate story of the actress that's sitting there petting her cat. And he tells her move the cat when she asks him a question that I cannot repeat on the radio. Jesse, thank you for the call. We continue to Cole calling in from Alaska. Cole, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
I wanted to talk about, kind of take objection to what Mark was mentioning yesterday about the Libertarian primary, and obviously, Darryl, you are a candidate in said primary, and he was... I want to be careful to not misquote him, especially as you guys are talking about that, but he was making the argument for Gary Johnson. And just to give you a little background on me, I would consider myself a fairly principled libertarian like you guys. And I was a Rand Paul supporter while he was running. So I had argued with Ian about this a couple times, and I see both sides why a libertarian should or shouldn't support a guy like Rand Paul. But the truth of the matter is, Rand Paul, I think, makes a fantastic Republican, but as a libertarian, he makes a terrible libertarian because he doesn't have the principle. I think Gary Johnson is in the same camp where he would make a fantastic Republican, but he's not who I want to see as a libertarian. So I just didn't understand why Mark was making the argument for him before even the primary for the Libertarians is finished, because the way I see it is, you're the most principled guy up on stage in the debate that I've, at least as far as I heard. Everyone else was, a watered-down message, so why not go with the principled guy? So.
And what I would suggest, Cole, is call back on Saturday when Mark will be on the show and he can give you his rationale for why he would support someone that would water down the message a little bit over someone that does not. And I heard Mark's arguments, and I'm not convinced by them. If I were convinced by, vote for the horse that could win, then I probably would have never wound up getting involved in the political stuff the way I am.
I think Mark has fallen into the same trap that the Dems and the Republicans have fallen into, where they're just going to vote for whoever they think can win. And instead of voting with their heart, voting with their principles, and going with the guy they know they agree with. And Mark agrees. I'm pretty sure he pretty much agrees with you on pretty much most things.
Yeah, and he even said so last night.
And yet he's going to go with Johnson because Johnson has more of a chance. And yet, you know what? He does have more of a chance. This year, maybe in 4 years, when people have learned your name this year, that you might have a more winning stride.
I would not say that Johnson has more of a chance of anything. He might have more of a chance of being included in one of the national polls where they ask the question of who are you going to vote for, but that's only because he's got more name recognition.
Yeah, looking at some of those polls, I'm going to say
he doesn't have a chance of polling 15% to be included in the CPD debate. He doesn't have a chance of getting elected because what we talked about at the beginning of the show, where Republicans and Democrats are going to vote, they're going to hold their nose and vote for their nominee.
Yeah. I think when we get into libertarian candidates and viability, and I think it has zero to do with name recognition. I don't think that has anything at all to do with it. What I think it has to do with is with educating people to the ideals of libertarianism and getting them to understand these concepts. And once they do, then it's going to be, well, who best enunciates those and who is most likely to fulfill those things, no differently than Republicans and Democrats do. Who is going to do the best job of trying to push this type of an agenda forward? I disagree wholeheartedly that it's going to come down to names and things like that. It might come down to money because that's politics.
Right, and you get more money because you've got more name recognition. So
yeah, but I do think that particularly people that have shrugged off years and years of Democrat and Republican thought and have embraced the ideas of liberty, they're going to be about the ideas, not the wrapping.
And of course, the biggest hurdle is getting libertarian/anarchist/voluntarists to go out and vote in the first place, because guess what? A lot of them don't.
I know they don't, but I think if the ideas continue to take hold, I think you're going to have a lot of people that don't vote come back when they see that, okay, some of these things are actually viable. Mm-hmm. I think it'll come that way. We're going to have a up and down until then, but I think that will happen.
Well, I know that personally. I run for office. I've been doing it every year since I've been here in New Hampshire. I hate politics. I hate politicians. I hate government. I'm running in self-defense. I'm running because I'm going to get up there and I'm going to vote against every possible thing that I can to give as much power back to the individual as possible. And it scares people. That really does scare people. They're like, well who's going to take care of us?
Right, yeah. Exactly.
Where are all my entitlements? All my entitlements that I've collected all these years? What are you gonna flush them down the drain? And it scares people for real.
It does scare people, and it's going to be really scary to see what happens in some of these primaries that are happening this Saturday. There's more elections on Tuesday. Yep. Including municipal elections here in New Hampshire, and I'm sure we'll be talking about some of that next week.
Even myself.
And, yeah, so good luck to you, Chris, on Tuesday. And we'll be back tomorrow night online. In the meantime, freetalklive.com. Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper, FPP News, at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
As a pioneer of the e-commerce movement, Overstock.com is proud to be the first major retailer to accept Bitcoin. Overstock was the first because Patrick Byrne, Overstock's CEO and founder, firmly believes in personal freedom and cryptocurrency. Over the past 16 years, Overstock has furnished over 18 million homes with a diverse line of products to suit everyone's unique styles and preferences. Support Overstock and freedom of choice while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
The live edition of Flaming Freedom is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, March 3rd, 2016. Silver is trading at $14.96 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,242 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $426. Antiwar.com reports the Islamic State attacked the town of Tel Abyad on the Syrian-Turkey border over the weekend, and fighting raged for several days. The Kurdish YPG is claiming victory, but a costly one, claiming over 200 people were killed